Go. Welcome to Occultist Radio. Radio for the higher self. With your hosts, Vicky Adams and Jymie Darling. All right. Back for another week. This one's going to be a long one.
Yeah, this is going to be really long.
We got ambitious.
We got a little overly ambitious, actually.
It's not overly ambitious.
I thought it was quite overly ambitious.
Strive.
But that's okay.
Strive to set it high. Now, here's the thing. We did an interview on...
was it yesterday?
Thursday?
It was 6 a.m., so it was kind of, we'll have probably still trying to wake up.
It all bleeds in together.
Yeah, at this point.
Day is tonight's nights
anyway,
today's.
Yeah.
But we did an interview with some wonderful people over in Japan.
It was well worth getting up early for.
Yeah, it was. Gudni and Yoda, Master Father G and Master Yoda, and before anybody says anything, Yoda is actually her name.
And she's a she.
And she's a she. And you don't hear a lot of her because her English is not so good, but Gudni's is because is he Icelandic?
He's Icelandic, but he obviously is fluent in Japanese.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's interesting. They're a
Goethian magician. Yeah, temple. Goethian magicians. Enochian and Goetia is, I guess, their main, I don't know if it's their main practice, but it's a nice portion of their of what they practice.
And so
but they're balanced actually. So
what we're going to do is we're going to play the interview with them right now, and it's an hour. It's a little over an hour long interview with Gudni and Yoda. And when we come back, we start the second half of the show with a very ambitious.
Well, we're going to be covering the Qlippoth, the Enochian, Qabala, Goetics, Alchemy, Demonology, Jungian archetypes, Astral Temples, and Astral Travel.
And Astral Projection.
And Astral Projection, too. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's all part of it.
So enjoy the interview, because we did. We actually did. And
it was fantastic.
We'll be in the chat room, but be aware that the guests cannot take questions.
We're going to do our intro.
And you're with Occultist Radio. This week we have special guests. Actually, we're calling way overseas.
We're calling from Japan.
We're calling
Japan.
We're calling Japan.
I wish I was in Japan.
Oh, don't we wish? And we have Gudni Gudnason and Yoda Zuza with us, and we're going to introduce them as Father G and Yoda. And they are actually really interesting people. Gudni is a native of Iceland. Yoda lives in Tokyo, and they've got such interesting training behind them.
You both are living in Tokyo right now.
Yeah.
All right, and you're can you tell us
you started out at an early age, from what we could see on the
we're just going to go through your biography.
And you explored the Wiccan path, and you proceeded into satanic practices, and from there you kind of saw the light, so to speak, and developed an understanding that it's all about balance. And of course you're familiar with the Hermetic saying, the axiom, as it is above, so as it is below. How does that affect your practices and your teachings?
My background, you mean?
Yes.
Or the axiom?
Well, both.
Yeah.
Both. Well, everything, like you were saying, I started out very early. I was a very boring teenager, very boring child, actually, because I I didn't do anything fun. Didn't go to movies or anything. I was just studying and learning and doing magic. And Iceland is a perfect place to start. It's kind of boring place to be in, actually. So I tried everything, and and then like you were saying, I wandered into the satanic path. So I've seen kind of pendulum both sides, and then I came to this balance of understanding that, what Christianity and all these religions talk about as good and evil, it's just dogma. There's no such thing. We experience everything we experience is good. I'm not saying that we should go out and rape and kill. That's extreme, but life is filled with adventures that we should never say no to. And you mentioned the axiom, as above, so below, which is good, but I live by so within, so without, as within, so without. And what's inside of me from living in this balance is joy, for inner fulfillment, and that's why I create around me. So that's just the core of what we are, in our operations and in the teachings. That's the core of it.
That is excellent. And Yoda, you do the Goethian magic.
We do Goethian magic.
Well,
yes.
You both do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We both operate Goethian temples around the world, and literally around the world, from South Africa, Cape Town, Europe, North America, and all over Asia here, and opening next year in January, opening in Australia. And we're doing Enochian and Goethian temples. And Yoda is the one who basically travels around and trains all the temple masters.
Is that was referred to the holy? What's the holy blood program that Yoda does? I mean, does it concern like the Holy Grail, like some kind of teachings from that path, or?
What is holy blood program? She's asking.
Demonology.
It's
demonology.
Yeah. She's not very good in English. You have to apologize. But it's basically about Holy Blood program is nothing to do with the Grail. It's about it's about demonology. It's about understanding the dark side. It's Demonology 101, 110. It's advanced demonology also. And just to get people, a lot of people are like, yeah, I want to work in the light, and I'm light worker, blah blah blah. But what does that mean? How can you work the light if you don't understand the dark?
Exactly. So this is what's so when you said she teaches the heads the Goethian magics, this is what the Holy Blood program's about. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, and you both formed the Occult Society of Japan. Is what this is? Or this is what's steeped in the Goethian and Enochian magic, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that's the worldwide organization now.
Yes.
Okay.
We're around the world already.
And you have more than 1 million students worldwide.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So.
And growing constantly.
Yeah.
It's actually the interest for what we do is spreading, because we are not. What we're doing is we're reaching out to people in many different branches, like the Wicca path and Hermetics, astrology, we channeling. We have all the branches of Hermetics, and we reach out through different venues of doing that, and so since we're teaching, I was fortunate to get into a secret order very young, and that was just a coincidence that has happened, or maybe not. I don't believe in coincidences actually, but got in very early and was trained in the real Enochian temple in London.
Oh, wow.
And learned the real stuff. So what we are teaching just simply works, and that's why people come back and over, and it will stay with us.
So you teach it as a self-empowering tool, taking control of your life, for better self-control.
I mean, magic is about that. Magic is about changing nothing into something and something into something else. And if we feel like there's nothingness within us, we lack in something, then the magic will change that nothing into something.
Yeah.
And then when you realize that's something, you realize the magic is working, then you can start recreating yourself. And me and Yoda, basically we teach our students that you should recreate yourself every day. You wake up in the morning, you empty your cup, and you learn more that day.
Yeah.
Now, I know that a lot of times, and we even teach, because it's not well known, and it's really, you can really get yourself into some problems if you're in both the Goethian and the Enochian, to tread lightly. But you don't. You say that this is an empowering tool. Can you elaborate on how Goetics and Enochian are empowering? Because I don't think there's a lot known about them.
Sorry, I lost a part of that.
You guys teach that the Goethian and the Enochian is an empowering tool, and now students can get into a lot of trouble,
and they have in our experience
doing those paths.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate more on how Goethian, which is demonology, and Enochian, which is angelics, empower?
The system that we operate is, first of all, you don't even touch these sciences the first 2 years of your study.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know who you are. You have to come to a certain platform in your life before you can touch Enochian and Goethian magic. Then, after the platform is reached, you reach a certain level in the initiatory path. You apply for this and you start your training, and you start with Enochian training. And it's very simple Enochian training, but still you're starting to learn how the angelic forces empower you. And it's all about us. It's all about the inner strength and who we are. Answering that question, who are we? After a while studying Enochian, you get your first lesson in Goethian magic, which again is that slam in the face, this is evil, and this is how it operates. So that you know better how the light works. So, and that's, I think we could safely say that Enochian is 70% of the study, Goethian is 30%, and yet there's balance there, because if you're just engulfed in a Goethian magic, that does harm you without a doubt.
Yes.
There has to be balance. Now we balance this with all the other anchors that balance us out, like Wicca, astrology, tarot. There's many tools that help us kind of stay grounded. That's why we teach all the different classes there.
Right. We also consider the Enochian system also fraught with, to be wary of it just as much as the Goetic studies, because, they are disarming, they're very beautiful, you know what I mean, when you're dealing with these entities. So you have to be, there is an element of, I don't know if I want to say danger, but you should be cautious studying that system as well. I kind of perceive, Goetic and Enochian a little bit on the same, in the same light, as they're both, terribly, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, you know what I mean. You have to be cautious of the both. So
yeah,
but
I agree.
But I thought, but you consider them sort of a balance to the other. Do you know what I mean? So are you considering one lighter than the other?
We don't see them really in those terms.
Yeah. Can you explain to me how you see them? I'm sorry, I just want to elaborate just a little bit more on that.
The Enochian magic, first of all magic is dangerous. Just whatever it is, even Wicca magic and Shamanic magic, there's danger in all magic. And many who seek magic, it's easy to fall. We saw that in the Darth Vader syndrome and in Star Wars and etc. So, it's easy to fall.
Right.
our school, our tradition evaluates the student. There's actually students that are not allowed to study either art.
Oh, okay.
We do not do it from judgment. We do it from evaluation and readiness of the student to receive this kind of instruction. One thing we need to realize is, so if we just skip these terms, good and evil, throw them out the window, which is good.
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah, yeah.
And we have demons and we have angels, and often the time there's no difference. I mean, you summon an angel, you do something wrong, and they just chop your head off.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Yeah, we perceive them as the same. You know?
And yet they draw upon different energies.
Right.
Just like the tree of life has a positive and negative side to it.
Right.
Demons draw upon negative energy and angels from positive energy.
Now we do have a question in the chat room for you, and it's he asks, Greg asks, does the student seek them out, or is there a type of offer to join the order? In other words, do you select your members?
Like, how do people, come across the Occult Society of Japan?
We, first of all, in the old order, members were chosen.
Are you talking about the
ancient order that I joined back in the 70s?
Was that the mystery school, or?
Yeah, that was Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
Right. Okay.
The original order, not the one that has a website today.
Okay.
The original order has no website or is not out.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
And one of their teachers. So I joined them in the 70s, and in the 80s, one of their teachers was in America, and Yoda-san joined him. His name was Israel Rigardi, with author in Kabbalah and other languages. So he's the one who initiated Yoda and taught her Enochian magic. She started with Goetia when she met me then in Japan, 97. And so in the old days, it was like that. Today we have, like I was saying earlier, we have all these feelers out there, and so a student may come to Vika or astrology class or something like that, and we usually see, okay, this is a student who could hold this energy, and they take certain initiations and they apply, and they have to be accepted for the program.
Right.
So he does it kind of like how I do it when I teach my classes. If I see somebody with a spark, if they're asking the right questions, if it looks like they can handle it, if they're putting things together and asking more advanced questions, then you know that's the student. Correct?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about what questions they're asking.
Right.
Exactly, yeah.
And so the 7th Mystery School, the Rocky Mountain Mystery School, it claims can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, this is, like, you don't have a huge association with them anymore, is my understanding. But they claimed, there's something like curious. They claimed an unbroken recorded lineage dating back to King Solomon, which which also I've come across on the web is heavily in dispute. And in some people's eyes tarnished the school's credibility because there was a lot of holes, according to people who were in the group, they weren't quite buying that, but it seemed like a lot of emphasis was placed on that lineage. What do you think of that?
Well, first of all, I don't give a shit what people think.
Yeah.
And whatever people do think, we do have 1 million students around the world, so thank you very much.
And this school too also has like more than 1 million students around the world.
Right. So it doesn't matter if they dispute.
Right.
First of all, it doesn't really matter if it's a lineage from King Solomon or not.
Right.
Most of the students don't give a shit anymore because the tools they've been handed down are creating the things they want in life, like abundance or love, joy, etc.
Right. Yeah, well, that is important too. I was just wondering, because it was just like, I didn't have a lot of info, we didn't have a lot of info to go by, so I was just like, during my, troll along the web, it just kept coming up, and I thought it was kind of interesting that there was some kind of lineage there.
The lineage that we talk about, to like me and Yoda, we see it as very important because,
right.
Example with Enochian magic. In America, you have there's a book in America, Keys of Enoch, by someone. I forget who it was, but when I came to America, I saw this big, white, beautiful book, and I thought, wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought it, not realizing that it was not the real, authentic material. It was just some joker who thought, yeah, this is cool, and I'm going to rechannel this information.
Oh.
Is that the Keys of Enoch by J.J. Hertog?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like, well, why? I mean, this material has been around for hundreds of years,
mm-hmm.
and it's been used by secret orders around the planet. Why suddenly is somebody in America who knows better? It's just, this is typical for these criticisms
right.
of, that's why we hold dear to our lineage, that mm-hmm. we've been handed down this knowledge from our teachers, who got it from their teachers, and that's an unbroken 3,000-year-old lineage.
Okay, I understand now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, now I understand the lineage. Yeah. It's just, we're just trying to clear up any controversies.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, the school conducts a 22-strand DNA activation.
I don't know how relevant this is to you now, because you don't have. You told me recently, you don't have that much of an association with them anymore, because of course you're doing this Occult Society of Japan now.
But do you guys still hold to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing the 22-strand DNA activation is one of the tools of the Mystery School, and that's one of the pilot things, actually. Most of the practitioners, they come, they learn how to do it, go out into the world, and so that, there's a lot of that done. And but you're right, I don't have so much affiliation with the modern Mystery School anymore.
Mm.
I'm still doing some big classes there, and but I kind of started moving on to other things now in my life.
Yeah.
And so is Master Yoda also. We're basically traveling around the world doing all kinds of events and projects, and trying to kind of introduce magic in a different way, like through music and events that make people feel good from the energy.
Oh yeah, we're going to ask you a couple of questions about that too. Does Yoda have anything that she wants to say to us about, elaborate further about what she does? I know there's a bit of a language barrier there, but maybe you can translate.
She's feeling a little bit strange about the language. She never speaks English. It's just she always travels with a translator, and she can speak it, but she's just not confident.
How did she communicate with Rigati? Was there a translator? I mean, I'm kind of like curious.
Did you have a translator?
I know it.
Yeah, she had translator.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I find that interesting. Yeah, we know very few people that had initiations and workings with Rigati, so that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
Now, you came back from a trip to Singapore and Malaysia to meet some local shamans there who were doing Goetian magic, stating that it would be exciting for you to see what they were actually doing and how. Can you share with us what you learned from this trip?
Yeah, because it's quite a curious thing,
Yeah, I got to start with an introduction to it because I go back in time a little bit, because back in the 70s I studied Latin. I was in the Congos, in Tanzania, sorry, in the Chad, and around Africa studying with the shamans there. Basically where Solomon learned his Goetian magic was in Africa.
Really?
And the shamans there linked me to a network of Goethian shamans around the planet, which is very hard to get into. You know, like, 6 years ago I went to Papua New Guinea, and again, the same network of Goethian magicians. And then now, so there's many years in between that I connect with these guys, and finally I found these guys in Malaysia, and I flew to Singapore, and then we drove up to Malaysia, and basically that, I mean, these guys started with, lesser balanced image of the pentagram. It was freaky to see.
Yeah, right.
But then it got scary because they don't. So we call in entities, and in Goethian magic we call in entities, and like Solomon did, he literally called them into a vessel, kept them, and then sent them out on assignments.
Right.
These guys did similar stuff, except they call them into their own physical body.
Wow.
So this reminded me of kind of a little bit of Sangreal or Mexico. They're kind of a magic and the trance state that they go into, and they call in some entity and all that.
Oh, wow.
But it was a demon possessing the body.
That, seriously, this is not advised, in case anyone has any ideas about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was very scary, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
How did they survive?
I mean, looking at it after, when he was finished, and he, so to speak, exercised himself.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure that he had actually done that.
Yeah, I was going to say, how would one exercise themselves when they have a Goetic demon within? Yeah. I mean, it would be a total conflict,
How does your mind survive that?
Yeah,
because that would be just mind-bending.
Yeah, that'd be devastating. That's...
Yeah, I don't think that this was healthy at all, what I saw.
Yeah. I mean, were they...
But what an interesting sight.
I mean, yeah, I'd give a lot to see that. So was he, like, perceived kind of normal after that? I mean...
No. He was not. And maybe, the thing is, maybe he wasn't normal, because I met a shaman, and then he took me into this temple, and there was this guy already. So I'm not sure before and after situation, but afterwards I know that he was still possessed.
Wow.
He was not acting normal, and it's just a good sample of pollution of these teachings.
Right. So what did you come away with?
What? There are books out there, and they're the newer books, and they tell you, put it inside your body.
Yeah, which is totally really ill advised. Yeah. What did you come away with from there? I mean, what did you learn besides seeing this awesome spectacle? I don't know if I'd want to call it a spectacle, but this really unusual thing. What did you learn per se from this experience?
It just confirmed for me, because I'm trained in a very rigorous way.
Right.
And we have a lot of fun in our group, in our organization. Mm-hmm. And I want to point out something. We're not an organization you can join.
Right.
There's no members. So and we're actually, we kind of tone down the fact that we are leaders per se. We don't like that. We're all the same, and we're just on this path together.
We're all students, but eternal students.
Yeah, we're all students of each other, exactly.
Right.
But we train when we do our magic. We're serious about it, and there's no practice. You study, and you understand your knowledge, and with doing it, you grow in wisdom. And I saw that in these people there, that this was not there. So I came away from it with, confidence that lineage I'm from has been doing it the right way.
Oh, excellent. Now, you studied, you went to Papua New Guinea, you said, and you explored ancient tribal ceremony with cannibal tribes. Oh, God, I would love to study with cannibal tribes.
Jymie is an anthropologist.
I actually have a PhD in anthropology of ancient religions.
So she's like, a little bit green with envy there.
A lot green with envy, G. Let me be honest with you, G. I envy that, because if I would give fingers right now to go travel with that, to go see cannibal tribes. Now, are you also a sort of anthropologist, or
you just have?
Well, yeah, actually, I do a minor in anthropology and a PhD in psychology.
Right.
So.
And that's I have my PhD in anthropology and my minor in psychology.
You guys are a flip. From that experience, do you somehow incorporate what you learn into your teachings? I mean, you must, right? At some point.
Always.
Yeah.
I'm a sponge. I'm always learning.
Hang on.
I want to go back. I want to go back to the cannibal tribes.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
What was that like?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, did you actually hook up with some of the cannibal tribes?
Yeah. We went to a very remote region. It was thrilling and scary. Never knowing if you would become dinner. They would have you for dinner that night, because they was real. They were real cannibals, and
right.
Actually was given. I went there as a shaman, and when I got there, it was very obvious that I was not really welcome.
Right.
And the man who had introduced me and wanted me there, he was not very liked by this tribe. So I instantly realized that, I'm in trouble. This is not good.
Oh, wow.
So I started sharing. I realized that we're all from the same tradition. We're all from the same magic. It's just done in a different way. So I started showing them my magic.
Oh, okay.
And after a while, they were like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Well, you're doing this. We do it this way. We're calling this energy." So I started with doing a magic circle to show them, okay, this is how we do magic circle. And they said, "Oh, yeah, it's the same energy we do, but this is how we do." So we started sharing, and that gave them confidence that I was okay.
That is so interesting. I mean, there was a language barrier, obviously, but that understanding was.
They spoke perfect English.
They did?
Yeah.
I want to make a side note for the listeners right now. We do not suggest that you all jump over to Papua New Guinea and try to go find a cannibal tribe, because you may end up dinner.
I mean, I know, like, the government and that, they don't, there's a huge, issue with the cannibalism. I guess it's silly me for assuming that they'd be, kind of secluded and not so, you know what I mean, like, English. I mean, it's the last thing I expected. That they could speak
me too.
fluently.
I was very surprised.
Oh, you were? Okay.
They are very, they're obviously a very primitive tribe.
Yeah, that's.
But they were very.
Seems that
they're also like us. They're a sponge. They learn things.
Yeah. It's interesting though that they that was a really brave and interesting approach you took. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that they could see like a commonality there, even though the rituals were aesthetically different. They can understand still where you're coming from.
Yeah. Now, it was a cool trip actually.
Yeah. How do you come across these opportunities? I mean, what was the whole pretense of going there? Like, even though you guys, your guide wasn't well liked, they were.
It started, like I was saying, it started actually in the Congo back in the 70s, where I was given or accepted into this shamanic tribe that basically said, okay, you're now one of us.
Right.
And they have this network around the planet.
Oh, okay.
So I've been with, but like I said, it's taken so many years to, like, instead of like jumping on a plane and just being all over the place, it's taken years and years to get to some of these places. And
yeah,
but
a good 30
I've
years.
been to Mexico, right? And yeah. I've been around, but this was Malaysia was the last one. But I basically get introduction letters from this tribe in the Congo, and they say, okay, this shamanic tribe is now ready to receive you.
That I guess that's the modern age for you. You know what I mean? It's there's networks there where you wouldn't really perceive that there would be. Congo, Papua New Guinea. It's kind of like worlds away. I mean.
Yeah. And very primitive tribes.
Yeah, that's.
And yet, I mean, I got this letter here in Japan through I have a house in London,
right.
And basically they're still sending my mail to London, and then it's shipped here to Japan.
Right.
And so I just, jumped on a plane and.
Nice.
Your experiences are beyond cool. Seriously.
Yeah, they are.
Seriously. Yeah.
Now you actually organized something here in California, actually Long Beach, and about maybe 20 minutes down the road from us.
The Alchemy.
It's the Alchemy Conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billed as the largest gathering of alchemists in 500 years, which I love.
Yeah.
And it's going on right now. It's September.
No, not right now. Next year, baby.
Oh, next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do it in October, but we canceled it, and we're gonna do it next year.
Right.
And even a bigger one next year than we did last year.
I think it's scheduled for those who want to know. I think it's the 16th to the 19th next year, September.
Yeah,
September at the Long Beach Convention Center. Jymie and I, we're well aware of this conference, but it always seems to conflict with our work schedule. What do participants expect to come away with when they attend this event?
Well, we are trying to gather together. We have two tracks. We have the modern alchemy track and the ancient alchemy track. And the ancient alchemy track is really where we are focusing. The modern one is, guys like Dr. Masaru Emoto and, the names. And they're more like a draw for people to come in, and then the real alchemists / occultists. They're the ones who really are giving the messages that we want people to hear.
Right.
So it's we want people to understand that of course everything is about alchemy. Life is alchemy. Cooking is alchemy. Everything is alchemy.
Exactly.
That's exactly what we teach.
And that people can do this. That it's not some stuffy old alchemist in the closet that do alchemy. Anybody can do it.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's and here's the thing. That's exactly what we teach. As a matter of fact, I just got done with teaching alchemy courses, and students were just like, anybody can do this? And I said, yes, everyone can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a wonderful event. I really do. I think that is going to be something that is huge.
Quite a few of our customers always rave about it. They did. I think they did last year. I guess it was last year. They always come back and tell us all about the event and how great it is for them and what they learned. So
you also do the Shambhala fusion event that takes place in Los Angeles.
Do you still do that?
Yes, we do events called fusion, Shambhala fusion, and other types of fusions. LA is just one place. We've done them all over the world.
Right.
And also kind of club events with DJs and performances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, now what is Shambhala fusion?
Shambhala is the ancient legend from Tibet about the perfect world, where there was peace, there was health, everything was perfect basically. Shambhala fusion is bringing people in to experience the magic that life is, getting them out of their mundane lives and create something, and that energy, just be in the energy. That's what it's all about. What the secret that people don't know is that before they got to that club in LA, or any of the clubs we do, like here in Tokyo, and we just did one with almost 900 people in Cape Town just a couple of months ago. But for like 2-3 hours before people get there, there's a whole Goethian team preparing the room as a temple, and engraving the symbols everywhere with salt, with holy water, with all kinds of tools, and they walk into this energy. So that's the purpose of that.
Oh, nice. That would be a shift.
Yeah, and just so people know, if anyone's in California, it does take place every year in LA. Around, I think it's usually around July or so. Is that right?
Actually, we haven't done one since last year.
Yeah, the last event I saw was last year, so I was wondering if one was going to happen this year.
No, we've been too busy actually, and we actually lost. It's very sad, but we lost our Enochian temple in LA.
All right.
And we basically lost the lease. I mean, the guy basically said, "You're out of here," and so we are opening up. We decided not to open a new place until next year because we're opening a huge center in LA next year.
Right. Okay, yeah, this sounds really good. Do you want to... Well, I guess when you're ready to do it, maybe we'll have you back on.
Cool.
Give people some more information about it.
Now we talked a little earlier, and you said you're packing.
Yeah, you're packing for Thailand. Right?
Yeah.
For tomorrow.
And you're teaching inner alchemy?
Yes.
Alchemy, a Thuring Grail class.
Yeah.
In Thailand. Is it tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we start Sunday. I'm leaving
Sunday.
tomorrow.
Oh, you're leaving tomorrow. Okay.
Can you tell us about this class?
Yeah. Basically, what happened? I last year at the Alchemy conference, Mantak Chia, who's a Taoist Qigong master, he came and spoke at our conference, and we just kind of clicked, the two of us. We became very intrigued with each other's stuff, and his Taoism, I think, is one of these, because Taoism can be very complicated.
Right.
And I studied Taoism, and some of the teachers I've had in the past, they made it so complicated, and it's like I teach Kabbalah, and most teachers teach it so complicated, but I do not. Our universal Kabbalah system is very easy to understand. Anybody can do it.
Yes.
And we have really good teachers actually in California.
Right.
Universal Kabbalah Network, I think it's called. But anyway, so me and Mantak Chia started talking, and ended up last January, I went to Thailand, and we started talking about alchemy, and we realized, we talked every day for a few days, and we realized that again, it's the same magic, just different terminology in different ways.
Right.
So we're bringing together people in Thailand where East will meet West, and I'm bringing in my way, and he's bringing his way, to basically again show the magic and show people how the magic is all the same.
Right.
Oh, nice.
And, our hope is, because I'm working with a lot of people on peace, and just try to bring peace with magic, because it could be a unifying point on this planet, that we become we're all the same,
right,
with same tools, and so that's really been my main work lately, is just peace, because peace on earth.
And the thing of it is it's, if you could find a religion that unified, and magic could be it, or a practice that unified, it would be wonderful, because I'd say almost every war is caused by the conflict of religion.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
There isn't really anything that's not a conflict that out there in the world right now that isn't because somebody doesn't understand, they're ignorant of somebody else's religion, and therefore they attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, I still am interested, and I know that you moved away from the school a bit, but I still am interested in the whole 22-strand DNA
activation. Yeah, because apparently we only use 2 strands.
Yes.
And there's 20. Is it 24 strands? Right? There's 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
What is it? Can you just elaborate?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. it basically goes to the core of what the King Solomon lineage is all about. 3,000 years ago, King Solomon said, okay, we got to unify all healings and all teachings on the planet and find one system that works everywhere. To do this, he gathered together 300,000 shamans from all over the world. There were even shamans from Japan. There's a tribe in northern Japan called Ainu, which is it's basically remnants of old Lemuria, because they're white skin, long hair, a lot of hair on the body. So they're not from this region.
Right.
Anyway, there was even an Ainu medicine man in King Solomon's temple. But King Solomon's temple was not in Jerusalem. King Solomon was not a Jew. He was mystery school through and through. Just child of earth, like we call ourselves. And he got the Solomon's temple was outside Alexandria, in northern Africa. And he gathered together 300,000 shamans, men and women, and he said, okay guys, let's come up with one system. Well, they worked together for 40 years on this system. And one of the tools that came out of it was the 22-strand DNA activation, which was a method to try to regain or come back to the Adam Katmon, or the exalted being. So that, it's just a quick background of what that is about.
That is interesting. And so your students are trying to activate the other 22 strands to find that ultimate enlightenment. Yeah.
Well, enlightenment is actually a different thing. Enlightenment is esoteric. But DNA is both spiritual and physical. And when you activate it, you're activating both strands on the physical level and the spiritual level. So basically, you're ready for all opportunities that come to you.
Right.
Your full potential is awakened, whatever that may be. Now we see in our school, like I was saying earlier, we see in our school that this is a tool that really works, because people come again and again, people want more, and we're just growing because of these tools that really empower people. Now, one thing, if I may,
yes.
The main passion that I have when it comes to the mystery school is regarding the thing that Solomon realized. So there he was. He had all these shamans, and he's studying, and they're all studying together, and they're trying to create something good for the world. So this is all great, and the King Solomon Healing University, which we run around the world, is a fantastic phenomena. But one day, this shaman walks into the temple, straight out of the desert, and he said, I need an audience with the king. And Solomon comes and talks to this shaman, and the shaman says, "Why didn't you invite us?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. Who are you?" And this man said, "Well, we are Goetian shamans." And Solomon basically was like, "What is that? What are you talking about?" So he went into the desert. They did not want to come into the temple. He went into the desert, and he found this group of warriors. And they were, the group was half men and half women, or half the group was women and half the group was men. And they were just this rough-cut warrior group. And they told him, well, all we do is fight demons, hand-to-hand combat with demons. And we use magic, and we use this, and we all these tools. And we have bound the demons, and we use them, and blah, blah, blah. So this is where he met what later would be known as the Knights Templars, or the Knights of the Temples of Solomon. And that's really who we are. And in the Occult Society in Japan, that's what we stress. We have hardcore martial arts training, which is now also in several places around the world. We have incredible fighters who teach. I'm a black belt, several principles myself, and we do it the right way, and we do it the old way, and it's martial arts, it's weapons with magic. So that's the core of the Occult Society, actually.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, she's got black belts.
Because I've got black belts. I just say.
Cool. What style?
Tong Sudong Mother Kwai.
Cool.
and Kuksuwan.
Very cool.
I actually learned them when I was in England.
Yeah.
I was military, so.
Yeah.
But it's a great structured balance, and I teach a lot of the teachings that even I do incorporate a lot of the martial arts teachings.
Well.
And people kind of look at you weird, and they go, "What is?"
Yeah, I know.
What does martial arts have to do with magic? It has everything to do with it, and they don't get it. Now, here's the thing. And there are so many, and it's one of my pet peeves. There are so many people coming out of the woodwork right now that are going, "I'm a demonologist. I'm a demonologist. I know how to banish them."
And simply because of this ghost hunting craze that's taking hold right now.
That and all the horror movies that are coming out.
Yeah, but a lot of it's stemming from
the ghost hunting.
Because it's
can
very
you
popular
actually
right now.
talk about what actually is demonology? Because a lot of people I don't think they understand it. They say, "Oh, I'm a demonologist. I hunt evil spirits." Yeah. and I cringe.
Yeah.
What actually is the system of demonology in the terms of what you guys do?
Well, first of all, it's the most serious part of our training. Definitely, I don't know the situation in the U.S., but it sounds like it's horrible. When Hollywood gets a hold of things, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's demonology is about, first of all, what we teach our students is to study the evil within ourselves, to understand ourselves, because we all have the dark side. And then it expands out all the way. The whole spectrum is from that spark of evil within ourselves and out to physical demons that live in different dimensions around on this planet, and how to counter and fight these entities. Spirits or ghosts is nothing to do with this. It's not even a part of the spectrum. Ghost is just a person, a human being who is not incarnated anymore. It's a totally different story. So our demonology we don't use that term at all. Actually, demonology. We don't use a demonologist. I mean, there's no such thing. There's no experts in this field. There's so many different demons and different entities that you're never an expert. It doesn't matter. I've been doing this now for over 30 years, and that does not mean I'm an expert at all. So, it's just a lot of... First that we teach, you have to be able to scan. You have to be able to be psychic enough to feel energy, to know what is this entity about, and how do I counter it? Because you're walking constantly into energies that are either positive or negative. There's no other energies on this planet. So, you've got to be able to scan energy. And we are going out there specifically to help people who have problems with these energies. So we have to, of course, know more than they do.
Yeah, especially if you go into an area where they're actually putting it into their bodies.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, another hot topic word, and I'm sure you guys teach it because it would go into this area, is astral travel.
Yes, it's a fundamental class in our school.
And everyone can do it.
Yeah.
Everyone can do it.
Anyone can do it.
Yeah, that's stressing on that.
I want to stress on that because a lot of people act like they're very special that they do it.
Yeah.
And it is actually a learned technique, correct?
Yes.
It can happen spontaneously, of course, but
absolutely. Yeah. Spontaneously. It is a learned technique, and yet something that we know so well.
Yeah.
We did that. We do it all the time. We do it every time we sleep.
Yeah.
We did it coming down into the fetus of the mother. It's very normal for humans to astral travel.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is something that I really wanted to get across, because a lot of people don't think they can, or they don't know,
or they've never done it.
And
we just tell them, but by the time they reach, as children, you're doing it constantly, for one thing. But as an adult, a fear kicks in at some point. For most people.
Now, looking at from your traditions and stuff, and the background that I now know about you, Astral Temple would be. Do you still hold a big
does it play a big
part in what you teach, the Astral Temple?
Essential.
And can you tell our listeners the difference between astral travel and Astral Temple?
Astral Temple is where we meet. I mean, we have the Goethian team around the planet is thousands of people. We don't have our annual meetings in Hawaii every year. We meet every day. We meet constantly in the Astral Temple. There's always a guardian in the Astral Temple. There's always one of us who is guarding the temple, is aware of the temple, is awake in the temple, even though we're functioning in the world. That training is essential, and our meetings in the Astral Temple are essential for our work.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, that's something, because it's two very different things, and a lot of people. Let's clear some things up, because you do a lot of work in the Astral Temple. People say, well, what if I run into something crazy in the Astral Temple? And we tell, and it's my training that you create the Astral Temple, and therefore you bring with it. You bring to it what your fears, and things are. In other words, if you have great fears of spiders, and all of a sudden there's spiders in your Astral Temple, it's because you brought them there. In other words, there's not these astral monsters running around that will eat you.
Yeah, a lot of people think that there are.
I need to clarify then the terminology. There's an Astral Temple that is associated with the assemblage point, which is a few inches above your crown chakra, behind the back. And there's an Astral Temple there that is used for channeling and work like that. And that's a very emotional temple. The Astral Temple we talk about is located between the third and fourth dimension of the astral levels, and there is no emotions there. You cannot bring your crap into that temple. It's a temple of light.
So people shouldn't fear that. Another thing that people say is, and I'd like you to clear, I hope that you agree with us, is that in astral travel, what happens if you can't get back to your body? We tell them you can always get back to your body.
Yeah, it's there's a auto mechanism in us that just brings you back.
Yeah.
There's no way you can get lost.
Exactly.
And somebody, I know we've had questions that say, what if something else takes over your body?
Yeah, that's another fear. Yeah.
And we keep telling them they can't.
There is always a risk of that. There's always a risk of that. Somebody trying.
Yeah.
We teach protection rituals, protection prayers, protection energy, which is more, fact is, it's more for psychological comfort of the student than actual rather protection. Because in your astral, first of all, the physical body is an entity that is completely protected from that. So in astral travel, you're safer than when you're actually in the physical body. It's more likely that you get possessed if you're in the physical body than astral travel.
Exactly.
Thank you. That's exactly what we'd say. And I know there's a lot of confusion out there.
Yeah.
And it's great that you guys are around
to help clarify. Guide people. Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, Fratergy?
No, it's just don't be afraid of magic. Magic is what changes lives.
Right.
Now, you want to give for people who would like to come to learn more about you or any of the temples, is there anything out there that they can go to, any websites, anything that they can look up?
Right now, the only access into us is through the modernmysteryschool.com website.
Right.
We have an occult society, Japan.com, we had to close it down because the Japanese government didn't like what we were doing.
Right.
And we literally, it actually just a few months ago it was closed down. Japan is very medieval when it comes to law.
Right.
And there's things you can't say. I mean, you can't even, if you advertise in the local newspaper, you cannot you can't say words like spirit, aura, healing,
Really?
There's all these words. Yeah, you cannot advertise in the newspapers here anything you want.
Yet Japan is so open to that. The people of Japan.
The people are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I came here to study. My school took off big time, but I first came here to study Omniochi,
Right.
which is a Japanese exorcism, and I'm now part of the old Abeno Seimi school.
Oh, wow.
And one of the masters there actually teaches here in the school, and both me and Yoda are graduates from there. And but they're completely underground. They even though it's a Japanese tradition, and yet it's not allowed.
How odd. How sad.
Yeah, sad too. Yeah.
It's sad.
It's actually really sad. It's going to say how odd or weird or medieval, but really the word is sad.
Yeah.
Because it's a tradition, and when you turn your back on traditions, it never turns out well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even Bushido is not widely accepted in Japan.
Are you serious?
No, I mean Yukio Mishima, who was a great Bushido master here in Japan. He went so far. He wanted Bushido back in the school system. He went so far to commit harakiri in order to awaken people to the fact that they needed Bushido in their lives.
Oh wow, that's extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the last person Yukio Mishima is the last person in Japan to commit harakiri.
Oh wow, that's sad. That's sad too. I mean.
Yeah.
It's sad that you have to go to such extremes to try to wake up people up and get them out of ignorance.
I guess that was his sacrifice,
Yeah.
For that knowledge, to put it out there. Yeah.
Well, we know that you have to pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you have a very busy schedule ahead of you, and we really thank yourself and Yoda for taking time out to do Occultist Radio with us this week.
Right. Arigato.
Hi.
We really appreciate this so much, and thank you for getting in contact with us. This was a really awesome experience in talking to you.
It really is. I'm going to try my hand at this and tell Yoda, domo arigato.
Thank you.
and we do appreciate everything that you guys, the time that you've taken with us, and we wish you luck, and we hope to hear more from you and have you back on the show to do more things follow-ups.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
And have a great trip and great teachings and
perhaps we'll bump into you in LA at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Oh, it would be very.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, let us know, please.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It'd be brilliant to meet you. Yeah, and Yoda,
Awesome.
if she's with you, yes, perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.
Right, bye.
All right. Well, that was a great interview.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
That was perfect.
That was
now, for the show's purpose, we are actually pre-recorded the day before to catch them on their times before they left, and so we'll be playing some music after this, and then we'll have a second half that we are creating still. So it's going to be interesting because I think we're going to talk about the Qlippoth and Enochian.
We are.
We are. Welcome back to Occultist Radio on ParaQuest Radio Network. And we really have a hefty night tonight with several topics to try to cover tonight. And it's quite an ambitious show that Vicky wanted done. How'd those bus wheels feel? I'm getting the what the hell just came out of your mouth look.
I did want this done, so it is. Okay, so we are going to cover, like as I mentioned, didn't I mention this earlier? The Qlippoth, the Enochian Kabbalah, the Goetics, Alchemy, Demonology, Jungian Archetypes, Astral Temple, Astral Travel, and Astral Projection.
So let's get this party started. Let's start with the Qlippoth, because I like the Qlippoth. Now, the word Qlippoth, or Qlippa, the plural is actually Qlippoth, means a shell or husk, and the idea of covering or a garment or a vessel is common in Kabbalah where it's used at various times and with various degrees of subtlety to express the manner in which the light of the Ein Sof is encapsulated. For example, the Sephiroth in their capacity of recipients of light are sometimes referred to as kalim, which means vessels. The duality between the container and the contained is one of the most important in Kabbalistic explanations of the creative moment. The word Qlippoth is an extension of this metaphor. A Qlippoth is also a covering or a container, and as each Sephira acts as a shell or a covering to the Sephira preceding it in the order of emanation, in a technical sense, we can say that the Qlippoth are innate to the tree of life. Let's see. Cut a slice through a tree, and one can see the growth rings with the bark on the outside. The tree of life has 10 concentric rings, and sometimes the Qlippoth is the bark. The word is commonly referred to as a covering which contains no light. It's an empty shell, a dead husk.
A second common interpretation of the Qlippoth is that they represent the negative or adverse aspects of the Sephira, as if each Sephira had a Mr. Hyde to complement Dr. Jekyll.
Oh, you would go with that comparison.
There are many variations of this idea. One of the most common is the idea that evil is caused by an excess of the powers of din, judgment, in the creation. The origin of this imbalance may be an innate, a residue of the moment of creation, where each Sephira went through a period of imbalance and instability, kingdom of unbalanced force. But another version attributes this imbalance to humankind's propensity for the tree of knowledge in preference to the tree of life. The imbalance of the powers of the din leaks out to the tree and provides the basis of the Sitra Akra, the other side, or the left side, referring to the pillar of severity, a quasi or even fully independent kingdom of evil. This may be represented by a full tree in its own right, sometimes by a great dragon, sometimes by 7 hells. The most lurid versions combine Kabbalah with medieval demonology to produce detailed lists of demons such as Samael and Lilith, riding at their head as king and queen.
Now, Isaac Luria, who really is a great author, introduced a new element into the notion of the abyss with his idea of tizim, or contraction. Luria wondered how it was possible for the hidden God, the Ein Sof, to create something out of nothing if there wasn't any nothing to begin with. If the Ein Sof, the no end, the infinite, the hidden God, is everywhere, then how can we be distinct from the Ein Sof? Luria argued that the creation was possible because of a contraction in the Ein Sof had created an emptiness where God was not. That Ein Sof had chosen to limit itself by a withdrawal, and this showed that the principle of self-limitation was a necessary precursor to creation. Not only did this explain why the creation is separate from the hidden God, but it also emphasized that limitation was inherent in creation from the very beginning. limitation, finiteness, the separation of one thing from another. What early Kabbalists referred to as the severity or strict judgment was a puzzling quality to introduce into creation, given that it was the source of suffering and evil in the impersonal sense. It's not evil per se that everybody knows now, but the idea of just the severity and suffering as being considered evil. Now, Luria's notion of tism, I like that word, suggested that there's no possibility of creation without it, and provided a rather abstract explanation of one of the most persistent questions of all time, and namely, if God made the world and God is good, how come he made mosquitoes?
A final example of an abyss is one which differs from the previous examples in that it brings to the fore the relationship between us, the created, and the unmanifest, the Ein Sof itself. Kabbalistic writers agree that the unmanifest is not nothing. On the contrary, it is the hidden wellspring of being. But as it is not manifest being, it combines the words not and being in a conjunction which can be apprehended as a kind of abyss. And Sholem discusses this nothingness as follows: the primary start or wrench in which the introspective God is externalized and the light that shines inwardly made visible. This revolution of perspective transforms Ein Sof, the inexpressible fullness into nothingness. It is in this mystical nothingness from which all the other stages of God's gradual enfolding in the Sephiroth emanate, and which the Kabbalists call the highest Sephirah, or the supreme crown of divinity. To use another metaphor, it is the abyss which comes visible in the gaps of existence. Some Kabbalists who have developed this idea, for instance, Rabbi Joseph ben Shalom of Barcelona, which was around 1300, maintain that in every transformation of reality, in every change of form, or every time the status of a thing is altered, the abyss of nothingness is crossed, and for a fleeting mystical moment becomes visible.
Well, let's break this down.
Yeah.
What is the abyss? The abyss is nothingness. The abyss is separation. The abyss is knowledge. And the abyss is that of unbecoming or unbeing. And that's going to be important because we're going to talk about that later on, because that actually is really important to unbecome. Now, the perception that being and nothingness go hand in hand is quite awesome in my opinion, to be honest. Sartre studied in great depth, and I like his Kabbalistic writings. And many of his observations on the natureness of consciousness and its relation to negotiation or nothingness are amongst the most perceptive that I've found. His arguments are really complex, and I'm not going to
go into that right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to even summarize them tonight because it's just immense.
They're uber lengthy.
Oh, yeah. It'd be a 5-hour show. And other than to say that he viewed nothingness as the necessary consequence of a special kind of being he calls being for itself, the kind of being we experience as a self-conscious human being. The abyss of separation can be experienced as a separation from the divine, but it can also be experienced quite acutely in one's relationships with others and one's relationship with the physical world. Much of what we perceive about the world and other people is actually an illusion created by the machine of perception. Strip away the trick, Yesod becomes Da'ath. And a yawning abyss opens up, where one is conscious less of what one knows than of what one does not. It is possible to look at a close friend and see something more alien, remote, and unknown than the surface of Pluto. This experience is closely related to the abyss of knowledge, which is... we'll go a little bit more into that. But the abyss of unbeing is the direct perception that at any instant it is possible to not be. This perception goes beyond the contemplation or awareness of physical death. It is the direct apprehension of what actually Dion Fortune calls calls ring chaos. That unbeing is less a state than a process. That at every instance there is an impulse, a magnetic attraction towards total self-annihilation on every level possible. What that is referring to literally is the Jungian psychology of the shadow archetypes of the self.
Yeah.
And because we are so self-destructive. And so at any given moment we can cease to be because of our shadows and the self-destruction and the self-annihilation that we do. And I'm digressing. I'm
not,
sorry.
You're not digressing that much, actually, at all, actually.
and the closer that someone moves to the roots of being, the closer you actually move to the roots of unbeing, of unbecoming yourself, from separating yourself from the ego and the shadows and the self-annihilation behavior that you have. Brings you, believe it or not, closer to the higher self. And I know I'm getting all worked up because I actually like this teaching this class when I teach it.
I know.
Sorry, I digress.
All right, so let's get in the meaning of death. It's knowledge. Sorry.
Whacking me with papers. I said I was done. You won't have to beat me. I'll shut up.
I'll beat the knowledge right out of you. Okay.
I'll slap you into unbecoming.
Okay, so death means knowledge. So in early Kabbalah, death was a symbol of the union of wisdom, the chokmah, and the understanding, the bina. The book of Proverbs is a rich mine of material on the nature of these qualities. Material which form the basis of many ideas in the Zohar and other Kabbalistic texts. So just for example, let's just go into some Proverbs. We'll do the 3:13. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retaineth her. The Lord by wisdom hath founded the earth. By understanding hath he founded the heavens, and by his knowledge the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down the dew. And another proverb really quickly, 24.3.
Proverbs 24, verse 3.
Yeah, verse 3, yeah. Where am I? Okay. Through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all pleasant and precious riches.
So the biggest question that remains, if the Qlippoth are part of a Kabbalistic theology, why would one theodicy, actually.
Yeah.
Why would one want to meditate or dwell on them? If they are evil, shouldn't they be left alone? What role should the Qlippoth play for the student in the Kabbalah? Perhaps the best answer will be next week when we join Scooby-Doo. No, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I had to. I'm sorry. Perhaps the best answer is actually for the student is that the Qlippoth are part of the Kabbalistic whole. They exist within the structure, and therefore should be recognized and understood at some point in the studies. At the level of wisdom, all people are one. Therefore, if you have gained the level of wisdom, which is chachma. I know you don't like doing the whole
I don't like doing it. Yeah.
Chachma, you are learning from everyone and everything. The idea of separation into individual states and ideas happens on a level below wisdom. In other words, a person must learn from evil as they must learn from all creation. Otherwise, they won't know the division between.
Yeah.
I got a question here. The state of being, the state of non-being, and the state of transformation between the two. Is that the gist of the necessity of nothingness? That is exactly the gist of the necessity of nothingness. The state of being, the state of non-being, and the state of transformation.
Right.
You be, you unbecome, so that you can become again. It is the difference when talking in Kabbalah and I'll explain in just a second. Malkuth to Tipirith to Da'ath to Keter, to become. Keter. Keter means to become, but Keter is also the crown. It is the crowning point, and of course, the triplicity that is above on the tree of life is Keter and the Chachma and Bina. And so you have wisdom and understanding. And when you have wisdom and understanding, you become. But before you can get to wisdom and understanding, you have to cross the Da'ath.
Yeah.
So you spend all of your time going up the tree of life. Let me break this down. As you walk the tree of life, you actually walk the Qlippoth. There is no difference.
Yeah.
You can be led astray at any moment. At any given moment, you can cease to exist mentally, emotionally, whatever. So, as you're walking the tree of life, you're learning both sides, the light and the dark. Let's not say good and evil. Let's not say light and dark.
It's a balance.
Let's say
between
mercy and severity.
Yeah.
Okay, mercy and severity, and when to use the two. So, and you're learning both of it,
Right.
The riches and the hard knocks, and so you're what you're doing on the tree is you're building yourself up. You are preparing yourself almost like a warrior with every type of training that you can, because when you hit that Da'ath, you unbecome. You have to unbecome to actually receive wisdom. So, yeah, the state of being, the state of non-being, and the state of transformation. Arca, I hope I explained that, because it's you have to do all of it to be able to let go. It's the destruction of the ego, the destruction of the ego that is self-annihilating. And for a lot of people, that's all they got. That's all they got. It is the ego. And even if it's self-annihilating, that's all they got.
Yeah, polarity.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
And you kick this ego out from underneath them. And they become utterly destroyed if they're not prepared for it. If you strip a person of the illusion of the reality of who they think they are, you destroy them. And so the Qlippoth, you're learning both sides. And the unfortunate part of it is that so many occultists get up there and they rush through the work. And they hit that Da'ath, and they're gone.
Some people try to do that work within months.
And they're gone.
And it is just not possible.
I've sat and watched students.
Yeah.
You just lose them. And there's nothing you can do. And I don't know how many times I've just looked at you and said, I can't get them out of the abyss. I can't save them. They went in there too fast, too soon, and I lost them. And it's not necessarily my fault.
No, it's not your fault, because it's not your path. I mean, you've tried to prepare them as much as you can. You've given them the benefit of your experience, but again, it's their path. You can't hold their hand. The complete, the way.
How does one know when the ego?
You can't tell them which
can't.
decisions to make.
And how does one know when the ego has been undone?
Yeah, exactly. It's not your ego. You can't.
Well, the question is, how does one know when when the ego has been undone? You don't.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The only thing that it's like, how do I know I'm ready for the black belt prize fight? You don't until you step into the ring. But you've given it your all in the training. You keep a focus on the higher self. I guess if you lose sight of the higher self and start to worry about self-promotion and how many people adore you and how quick and fast can you get things, I guess that's when you know your ego hasn't been undone. Unfortunately, if you're in the Da'ath, you're lost. Anyway.
So, just finishing, since we've
started it.
Yeah. Well, the last thing you said, it is only below the level of wisdom that the division between good and evil can be made.
And then I digressed again.
Yeah. So, but you're kind of going into it anyway from that point. So it kind of was expanding on that idea anyway. just so, to keep, go back to where we were left off. So according to Kabbalistic law, before creation could exist, the divine had to contract to make space for the universe. This act of contraction is known as, can you say that for me?
Yeah, because I like saying it.
You like
tism.
Yeah. It always throws me. And is clearly described in the Zohar.
I like the Zohar.
Yes. Man, I picked that book up in my teens, and it totally went over my head. A good deal of it. Ugh. Yeah. In the beginning of the king's authority, the lamp of darkness engraved a hollow in the supernal luminescence. The hollow carved out of the supernal luminescence is the space into which all creation was placed. The first stage of creation was called the universe of chaos, the Tohu, and in which the creation of the 10 primitive Sephirot occurred. These vessels were able to receive God's light, but were unable to give or interact. They could not hold the light and were overwhelmed and shattered. Those broken vessels fell to a lower spiritual level and subsequently became the source of all evil. The true vessels of God's light is humanity, but in order to receive this light, we must first in some way be connected to God.
Yeah, I want to just say, when you're saying God,
when we are saying God,
it's any God that you believe in.
Yeah, it's the just universal concept of God, and you know what I mean. Not one, specific path. Unlike those original vessels which could not give or interact, mankind must resemble God, made in His image. That kind of theory, but also being a giver, the combination of opposites. We give by feeding the supernal worlds by our actions. Before we can do this, however, we must resemble God by having both free will and free choice, and this is only possible when both good and evil exist. The Qlippoth on these shadow pieces of the original Sephiroth, they have been touched by God's light and thus have the smear of it still upon their essence, like oil taint on broken glass.
There's no simple explanation for the meaning of the Qlippoth in the Kabbalah. There isn't. And Archetypal is saying that it's a subject that really causes the mind to focus on subjects that demand non-focus. To wrap your head around it is one thing. To try to explain how to wrap your head around it is a mammoth task. And it is. And the thing of it is I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
This is one of the classes that I'm actually really uber passionate about.
Before it was so close to me, I tried in my teens, I struggled with it a lot in my 20s, I started getting, grasping it in my 30s. It just took a while, and after listening to you, over the years, and you just made it more accessible to me personally. Do you know what I mean? Because I think I was even opposed to the idea of assimilating that information. You know what I mean? It just seems it was so overwhelming. The whole concept of it.
I'm going to go off the hip.
But a lot of it was, experience actually really helped with a really huge level of the understanding of it.
I'm going to go off the hip. And I'm going to try to explain something. The Qlippoth means a husk or shell. And the kalim, referred to in the Kabbalah, is a vessel. If you are the vessel for the light, if that's humanity, then you are the kalim. What around you is the what is around you is the Qlippoth, the husk, the shell. The husk and the shell that is actually surrounding the vessel of your light is the perceptions that have been pasted upon you, the issues that has been pinned on you, the self-destructive behavior that you've picked up along the way and clothed yourself in. So if the idea is to go up the tree, the idea is to shed the husk and things. And you do this by thinking about the shadows.
Yeah.
If you could just think about the self-destruction behavior, why you do it, where you picked it up, and why that person handed it to you, then you can decide that it's not your issue.
Right.
And if it's not your issue, then you can husk that piece of clothing off. Look, you guys are walking around with hundreds of layers of clothing on, let's say, a shell on, and inside that is the vessel that you're trying to get to. And each piece of clothing may not belong to you. Some of it might, some of it might not. Most of it won't. I can promise you that. Most of it won't. So you're trying to husk that off. The problem is that when people go up the tree of life, they don't let go of the ego and the issues and the problems. It's like I took off the shirt, but I'm still carrying it. When they get to the abyss, they drown. When the abyss looks, when a person looks into an abyss, the abyss looks into you, and the abyss will try to pick things apart. And if you can't stay strong, and if you can't do that, it will. It's not the outer layer of you that'll be husked. You will be husked. And that's it.
And sometimes, don't you think it's a self-realized failure? Like for some people, they know that they have a choice to, cross the abyss or basically like drown in it. I don't know if you want to say that, call it that.
It is like drowning because every one of your issues is a weight.
But sometimes, the lure of drowning is so compelling for some people that
because they don't have to take responsibility for what they have, and they don't have to do the hard work on themselves.
And they know that they are going to choose that option as they're going into it. It's almost pointless.
It is, and it is the first key to understanding. Know thyself,
right?
And the thing of it is, this is not for everyone. This type of occult philosophy, it's not for everyone, and it's unfortunate because most people say yes, but it's for me. And I don't know how many times I've stood by and watched a student drown, and there's nothing I can do because for me to grab them would weigh me down, and I drown with them.
But what I was trying to illustrate earlier when I was saying through my 20s and my teens and that, isn't this something that's really hinged on experience? Do you know what I mean? As you experience life, experience thyself, as you look into yourself, do you know what I mean? You can't know this path unless you are doing that work. You know what I mean? Like, and with that usually comes age.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
To an extent.
To a certain extent. Do you know what I mean?
I've had students that have awed me, and they're in their 20s, and I have had students that I have cried over, and they're in their 50s.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, like, it's not something you can do, like, say, you're, like, in your teens or early 20s.
No, because you haven't developed yet.
That's what I'm saying. It's not something, so when people say to me, and they're in their teens, I know it, I just look at them, like, with immense doubt, because there's no way.
No, well, it was like
it was
like the young
you
20-something, the young
anything, you know what
20-something year old, the older 30 or 20-something year old, who said, "I'm going to do a path a week in the Kabbalah."
You can't.
And I think you could have knocked me down with a feather.
Yeah.
And I just looked at her, and I begged her, and I begged her, and I begged her, and I said, "Please, if you just listen to me."
And she thought that was really fast. Remember when she said that?
Slow.
Yeah.
She thought that was really
slow. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Slow, fast, depending on how you're looking at it.
And I begged her, and she told me she had all these shaman teachers, and I said, "I'm begging you. I said, "I'm begging you on my hands and knees. Please don't do it this way. I can't tell you how sorry I am. I taught you." And damn it, Vic, she's husked.
Yeah.
She came in the other day. There's nothing there.
I know, but like when I said slow, she thought she was taking her time by doing it.
I know.
Or did I say fast? What did
I say? Fast.
I said fast. Oh my God, I'm going backwards. But
it was really devastating.
Is that the chick that comes?
Yeah. She's lost everything. She doesn't know who she is anymore. She's taken on so many personalities now that it's not a one person anymore. You can honestly look at her and go, there are many. Mm-hmm. Because now she's just taking in anything to fill the empty shell.
And she changes her career, her career field every
She's legions.
Like she's legion. She actually is legion. Yeah.
And it's sad because I kept telling her not that fast, and she said, "I'm taking it slow." And I said, I begged her, I said, sweetheart, it took me years, decades to do this. Decades.
That's because she also had somebody in her ear.
Yeah, she
had
a master.
Yeah, master.
That was telling her, you can do it in a week.
Yeah.
These people who read 3 books and they think they know anything, or say, I've got 15 years experience. You don't. I question them, and they don't even have like a year experience in the field that they talk about. It's just whatever, but hey.
So I guess at this point we're just going to take a really quick break, play some music, and then we're going to go into the Goetia. These
are just quick covering of the.
Well, we've touched on the Goetia in a previous show, but this is just a little more historical information as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go try to collect myself and not be so.
Not be so what? Don't be ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. Music time.
Yep.
And we're back. Okay, so welcome to PowerQuest Radio Network. Welcome to Occultist Radio, if you're just joining. Welcome to one heck of an undertaking tonight.
And it's already 8:41.
It's already 8:41. Okay, so there is really and legitimately two kinds of goetic workings. The goetic evocations of demons, which is commonly referred to as Ars, A-R-S,
Goetia.
Ars, Goetia, and goetic theurgy. Vicky's going to explain Ars, Goetia. I'm going to explain the theurgy.
Yeah.
Take it away.
So I'm going to basically be going into a lot of the historical details here. So let's go because it's going to be a little lengthy. Ars Goetia is the title of the first section of the Lesser Key of Solomon, containing descriptions of the 72 demons that King Solomon is said to have evoked and confined in a bronze vessel sealed by magic symbols, and that he obliged to work for him. The Ars Goetia assigns a rank and a title of nobility to each member of the infernal hierarchy and gives the demons signs that they have to pay allegiance to, or seals. The lists of entities in the Ars Goetia correspond with those in Johann Weyer's Pseudomonarchia Demonium.
Oh, Pseudomonarchia Demonium.
As she goes into her Latin. An appendix appearing in later editions of his
De Predigios Demonium of 1563.
Sorry, folks, my Latin sucks. A revised edition of the Ars Goetia was published in 1904 by Mathers and Crowley as the Goetia, based on manuscripts from the British Museum, with additions by Crowley. I think he do the drawings?
Yes.
I think it was his drawings, yeah. He
Yes.
had some pretty interesting drawings, including a preliminary invocation drawn from Goodwin's fragment of a Greco-Egyptian work upon magic, and the essay, The Initiated Interpretation of Ceremonial Magic. It is not a faithful edition of the source manuscripts, but contains several innovations, including some evocations in Enochian written by Crowley. In his introduction, Crowley argues that the work of demonic evocation is merely a form of psychological self-exploration. It has since become a relatively well-known book of magic and has even been featured in places like the graphic novel Promethea, by Alan Moore, and James Bly's novel Black Easter. Totally slaughtered his last name. It appeared in the 17th century, but much was taken from the texts of the 16th century, including the... Go again.
Pseudomonarchia Demonium.
Yep.
By Johann
Weyer. And late medieval grimoires. It is likely that books by Jewish Kabbalists and Muslim mystics were also inspirations. Some of the material in the first section concerning the summoning of demons dates to the 14th century or earlier. The book claims that it was originally written by King Solomon, although this is clearly incorrect. The titles of nobility, such as the French Marquis or Germanic Earl, assigned to the demons were not in use in his time, nor were the prayers to Jesus and the Christian Trinity included in the text. Since Solomon's birth, predated Jesus' birth by more than 900 years. So who knows how they came across that. So the Lesser Key of Solomon contains detailed descriptions of spirits and the conjurations needed to evoke and oblige them to the will of the conjurer, referred to as the exorcist. It details the protective signs and rituals to be performed, the actions necessary to prevent the spirits from gaining control, the preparations prior to the invocations, and instructions on how to make the necessary instruments for the execution of these rituals. The several original copies extant vary considerably. Excuse me.
Water?
Yes. Sorry.
There you go.
In detail and in the spellings of the spirits' names. Contemporary editions are widely available in print and on the internet. The Goetia, the Lesser Key of Solomon, the King, is a 1904 translation of the text by Mathers. It is essentially a manual that purports to give instructions for summoning 72 different spirits. that is that the little black edition?
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes it's blue. It's
Sometimes
it's a very slim edition.
It's a
with
nice
some
edition. We have
gilt
it.
lettering. Yeah. And we have a couple actually. Yeah, snapping those little puppies up. Well, we could because now they cost a bomb.
Yeah.
So the lesser key of Solomon is divided into 5 parts. The first section, called the Ars Goetia, contains descriptions of the 72 demons that Solomon is said to have evoked. Oh my goodness, I'm reading the same thing.
What's that?
Hang on.
No, it's divided into 5 parts. You're going to go through all the 5 parts.
Yeah, but all right. I just feel like I'm repeating myself.
A little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. Doesn't matter.
Just go to yeah. Just
no worries. It doesn't even matter if I am.
I wanted you to.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I thought we would do.
Well, I just felt that I just said it. It's okay. Anyway, it gives instructions on constructing a similar brass vessels, the one that was mentioned earlier, that he contained them in. So I guess that's why we're repeating that, and using the proper magic formula to safely call up those demons. It deals with the evocation of all classes of spirits, evil, indifferent, and good. Its opening rites are those of Paimon. Oh, I so suck at names.
Paimon, Orius,
Astaroth, and the whole cohort of Infernus. The second part, or Thirdia Goetia, deals with the spirits of the cardinal points and their inferiors. These are mixed natures, some good and some evil. The Ars Goetia assigns a rank and a title of nobility to each member of the infernal hierarchy and gives the demons signs they have to pay allegiance to, or the seals, as we mentioned earlier. The list of entities in the Ars Goetia correspond to a high but varying degree, often according to each subsequent edition, with those in Weyer's book, an appendix dealing in later editions of his De Prestigiis Daemonum of 1563. A revised English edition of the Ars Goetia was published in 1904 by magician Arthur Crowley, the Book of the Goetia, King of Solomon. It serves as a key component to its popular but highly influential system of magic. The Ars Thirdia Goetia, the art of Goetic theurgy, basically, is a second edition of the Lesser Key of Solomon.
Second section.
It's a second section, sorry. It explains the names, characteristics, and seals of the 31 aerial spirits called chiefs, emperors, kings, and princes that King Solomon invoked and confined. It also explains the protections against them, the names of their servant spirits, and conjurations to evoke them, and their nature that is both good and evil. The spirits in this section and the next, as Paulina, correspond to names given in
it's that is Stregonographia of Trithemerius.
You're slaughtering me with these.
names.
I'm already feeling tongue-tied as it is. Okay. The sole objective is to discover and show hidden things, the secrets of any person, and obtain, carry, and do anything asked to them. Meanwhile, they are contained in any of the 4 elements, being earth, fire, air, and water. These spirits are given in a complex order in the book, and some of them have spelling variations according to the different editions. The Ars Paulina, which is the art of Paul, is the third part of the Lesser Key of Solomon. According to the legend, the art was discovered by the Apostle Paul, but in the book mentioned as the Pauline art of King Solomon, the Ars Paulina was already known since the Middle Ages. It is divided into 2 chapters in this book. The first chapter refers on how to deal with the angels of the several hours of the day, meaning day and night, to their seals, their nature, their servants, which are called dukes, the relation of these angels with the 7 planets known at the time, the proper astrological aspects to invoke them, their names, in a couple of cases coinciding with 2 of the 72 demons mentioned in the Ars Goetia, the conjuration and the invocation to call them, the table of practice as well. The second chapter concerns the angels that rule over the zodiacal signs. And
That's right. She said angels while talking about demonology.
Yes. and each degree of every sign. We've already mentioned that,
Yeah.
There's a very fine line. Their relation with the four elements, fire, earth, water, and air, their names and their seals. These are called here the angels of men, because all persons are born under a zodiacal sign, with the sun at a specific degree of it. The Ars Almadel. The Art of Almadel is the fourth part of the Lesser Key of Solomon. It tells how to make the Almadel, which is a wax tablet with protective symbols drawn on it. On it are placed 4 candles. This chapter has the instructions concerning the colors, materials, and rituals necessary for the construction of the Almadel and the candles. The Ars Almadel also tells about the angels that are to be invoked. And that book also comes on its own too.
Yeah, it does.
'Cause I think we have that.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Oops, that was the bunny agreeing. I know. And anyway, it explains the only reasonable and just things that are needed that must be asked to them, and how the conjuration has to be made. It also mentions 12 princes ruling with them. The dates and astrological aspects that have to be considered most convenient to invoke the angels are detailed but very briefly. The Ars Notoria, the notable art, is the 5th and last part of the Lesser Key of Solomon. It was a grimoire known since the Middle Ages. The book asserts that this art was revealed by the Creator to King Solomon by means of an angel. It contains a collection of prayers mixed with Kabbalistic and magical words in several languages, like Hebrew, Greek, and such, and how the prayers must be said, and the relation that these rituals have to the understanding of all sciences. It mentions the aspects of the moon in relation with the prayers. It also says that the prayers act as an invocation to God's angels. According to the book, the correct spelling of the prayers gives a knowledge of the science related to each one, and also good memory, stability of mind, and eloquence. This chapter presents the precepts that have to be observed to obtain a good result. Finally, it tells how King Solomon received the revelation from the angel.
The Sacred Magic of Abramelin and the Mage is considered both a theurgic and a Goetic book of magic, and it's mostly used in a very religious context. And now, contrary to the other Goetic grimoires, this book does not denote the evocation of demons to do one's bidding or involuntary handiwork like what Vicky was describing, but describes how one might summon these infernal forces solely for the purpose of excommunicating them from the life of the magus. This book was considered a system that led the aspirant closer to the goal of spiritual union with the Ein Sof. Of course, we're going back to the first part now, describing how to summon the dukes of hell, even Lucifer, for the purpose of resisting the temptations of their vices and binding their influence in the aspirant's life. This book told a system of holy magic through an 18-month purification. Then, after the conversation of the holy guardian angel, one would summon the 4 great kings of hell. That would be Lucifer, Leviathan, Shaitan himself, and Belial, and make them sign an oath. And this oath, after gaining the power of the supernal realm, would grant the adept power over the infernal realm and aid the adept in discovering his own true will. What does that mean? What it means is that there is 2 ways to use Goetic demons and the demonology. One is to evoke them to do your own bidding, which is not suggested.
Well, some people.
To some people. I don't suggest you invoke them.
No, not because, as our guest
was saying, that was
witnessed, he was very dubious over the subsequent exorcism of that demon, which, how can you do that? Do you know what I mean? Huh? Nothing.
So,
imagine having a demon inside of you and then exorcising oneself of that demon. It just seems like a conflict.
And then there's the other realm of thinking, and that is, you study the Goetia, you study how to evoke them, right? And then what you do is you use it to actually expel them, to put them into exile. Now, we can take that literally. But you and I both know that none of the old books were written literally.
Oh, no.
Not one of them. And I think that's where a lot of classical students are losing themselves.
Not only
because the modern books are written literally, but the older books, they're not. They're not written literally at all. They are this immense, wonderful mindscape of absolute metaphoric and magic and things.
And tons of abstracts which are supposed to cause one to contemplate the words to actually find the real meaning behind them.
If the idea is
they never handed out complete pieces of information.
No, they don't.
I mean? So there's always
no, they don't. They don't do that. And here's the thing. The metaphors that are in here are based upon finding your own true will. Mm-hmm. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Almost in all the old books.
Yes.
It was all about your trip from point A to point B of self-enlightenment. And
it was the only way to do the work, seriously.
And it was the only way to write about it.
Yeah.
Because the only way to write about it without getting stoned or put up onto the cross was to write it in
be
metaphors.
a little elusive, yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of students don't understand the old books, or they get lost in the old books because they don't realize the metaphor.
And you know what?
So
a lot of people want to be spoon-fed too.
Right.
You know,
so you take the old books and you understand them, and you understand the metaphor. The demons, yeah, they exist. They're there. We've talked about them. We've had a class where, or the show that had Kai Blackwood. We went into that. Mm-hmm. But let's go deeper. Let's go into the idea of Abramelin the Mage. Let's go into the idea of what if it was all a metaphor? What if every single bit of it was a metaphor? Then what? Then I know.
I know it's.
I know. I'm going to try to compose.
She's geeking out. She's geeking out over the Goetia.
I am. Well, I'm geeking out over the Jungian archetypal alchemical symbolization of the darker selves and the expelling of the inner shadows. So, what if? Just follow with me here. These books are all metaphoric, and you're not really supposed to call up demons that exist that have a payment plan with you. What if you're not supposed to do that? What if, metaphorically speaking, we are supposed to call up the shadow demons, the inner demons, our demons, our individual demons, and expel them into a brass vessel to hold them? It would be almost a metaphoric funeral for your past.
Freaking constructive, that's for sure.
You know what I mean? And it would be very visual and very symbolic of getting rid of your past, of getting rid of your self annihilation, of your. I really need to compose on this.
Compose yourself, you mean?
Compose myself, because I'm actually almost jumping out of my chair while I'm speaking. I'm
going to need an umbrella, too.
You're going to need an umbrella. I'm all over the place. And here's the thing. Because this is so great for a person, and I mean, it can really just, it releases you from your chains of things, and I love when people do it right, because they come back in and they go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and yeah, it is, oh my God, and if you take these books that are out there, and you look at them in a metaphoric saying, and in a metaphoric way, you're going to find out that perhaps it was a very visualization, very symbolic thing of taking the brass vessel and putting your inner demons into them, calling up your inner demons from the inside, the abyss, off of you, okay, placing them into another vessel so that you can get rid of them. I've told people a million times, you can look into a doorway and see a shadow. And it looks like a giant monster on the ground. And you put the covers over your eyes, and you shiver, and it's the closet monster, it's the monster under the bed or whatever. It's the boogeyman. And when you look at the door, when you finally get that confidence to look at the door, it was a mouse that had a light behind it. And once the light is thrown on that, it was just a mouse. That's your inner shadows. That's your inner demons. When they're inside, in the shadows, they're like these great big huge monsters. They're this immense, overwhelming sense of futility and pessimism. And when you put a light on them, they're not anymore. They're a little tiny mouse. Now all of a sudden you can pick up that mouse and throw it in a vessel.
But you're not talking about banishing your inner shadows.
I'm talking
because
about
you still need to retain them.
No,
right?
but no, it's not that you need to retain them as much as you need to
acknowledge,
incorporate, and
that's what I mean by
and bring them into the fold, so that they're not shadows anymore.
Keep them in a balance, like so you can't,
Well, so that they're not shadows anymore.
Yeah.
So that they're at least not so self-destructive.
Okay.
And here's the thing: maybe you can't get rid of the mouse, but at least the mouse won't scare the hell out of you, because you know it's a mouse. Next time you see that shadow, you're going to be like, ha 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 ha! It's a mouse. Do you know what I mean?
Is it like when there's a mouse, right? And say there's a light behind the mouse, but you don't catch the light, but all you catch is its enormous shadow that the light casts.
That's what I was saying.
Oh, is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I said.
I'm sorry. I guess I wasn't.
That is precisely what I said.
Listening?
As a matter of fact, I guess not. I speak for the hell of it. I like the sound of my own voice.
I didn't hear you tied in.
I
didn't hear you tied in like that.
That's why I was saying once the lights turned on, you realize that what cast the shadow was the little mouse.
No, what if the light is on is what I'm saying, but you don't catch the light, all you focus on is
the shadow.
Is the enlarged shadow.
But once you turn the light back on it, you can see, once you're shining the light from your direction.
Yeah.
If I called it a shadow that was extending across the floor, it meant that there had to be a light behind it. Physics.
I know.
Honey,
well, you said if you turn the light on afterwards.
If you turn the light on for you.
Yeah.
If you shine the light on it, in other words, you got the flashlight in your hand. I'm done arguing that.
We're not arguing that.
And now, this is how you can use this for the higher self. And what a great thing that is. We're running late again. We're going to run way over time.
We're not running late. We're just going to do a long show.
We're running late.
We already established this is going to be a long show.
Serenity's going to fire us.
I don't think Serenity cares.
Okay. But it literally is, if you take some of these older books, especially the demonology books, especially the ones that are telling you how to do it, all the prayers, all the symbols, all the sigils, what you got? Metaphors. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.
Try and get you back in the conversation.
I'm agreeing with you.
All right.
Yeah, we need to take another break. I need to go pop some pills, I think, for my pounding noggin. So when we come back, we'll be tackling demonology and the Enochian system.
Which is angels and demons.
Angels and demons. Just, you'll be surprised.
Fill in some more because I didn't put music up yet.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, then why am I even speaking?
Oh, for the love of!
I don't know. Love of all that's unholy.
I'm trying. Oh,
you can tell we're not like.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Too busy and that's a bit too much. They call on me by name, you see, for my special touch. To the gentlemen I'm misfortune, to the ladies I'm surprise. But call me by any name, anyway it's all the same. I'm the fly in your soup, I'm the pedal in your shoe, I'm the bee beneath your bed, I'm the bump on every head, I'm the heel on which you slip, I'm the pin in every hip, I'm the thorn in your side, makes you wiggle and ride. And it's so easy when you're evil. This is the life you see, the devil tips his hat to me. I do it all because I'm evil, and I do it all for Your tears are all the pay I'll ever need. While there's children to make sad, while there's candy to be had, while there's pockets left to pick, while there's grannies left to trip down the stairs, I'll be there. I'll be waiting round the corner. It's a game, I'm glad I'm in it, 'cause there's one born every minute. And it's so easy when you're evil. This is the light you see, the devil tips his hat to me. I do it all because I'm evil, and I do it all for free. Your tears are all the pay I'll ever need. I pledge my allegiance to all things dark, and I promise on my damned soul to do as I am told. Lord Beelzebub has never seen a soldier quite like me. Not only does his job, but does it happily. I'm the fear that keeps you awake. I'm the shadows on the wall. I'm the monsters they become. I'm the nightmare in your skull. I'm a dagger in your back, an extra turn upon the rack. I'm the quivering of your heart, a stabbing pain, a sudden start. And it's so easy when you're evil. This is the light you see, the devil tips his hat to me. I do it all because I'm evil, and I do it all for free. Your tears are all the pay I'll ever need, and I do it all for free. Your tears are all the pay I'll ever need, and I do it all for free. Your tears are all the pay I'll ever need. It gets so lonely being evil. What I'd do to see a smile, even for a little while. And no one loves you when you're evil. I'm lying through my teeth. Your tears are all the company I need.
We got a couple of questions on who that was. That was Voltaire playing. Like the French writer, but not the French writer.
Obviously not the French writer.
Welcome back to one of the most ambitious shows that we've tried to undertake, and hopefully this will set the bar for more great shows if well received. Demonology isn't what everyone seems to think it is. And all these people who are popping up and calling themselves demonologists, they really have zero clue on what they are saying and what they are writing. There is no real true demonologist out there. There really isn't. The field is so immense that it would be impossible. They understand bits and pieces, and that's about it.
Is that all you have to say about that?
Yeah.
Usually you're like, come on, let's get some fire. Come on, spit out some fire. Come on.
I'm trying to be composed.
Don't. It just sounds wrong.
Trying to stay composed. No, but you know what? It really burns my. It really does. It burns my brisket.
It burns your toast.
It burns my toast. That all these people are out there because I mean, demonology, number one, is so immense. Number two, there's a place for it. Number three, half of it is metaphoric. Mm-hmm. And you know, pull your freaking heads out before you go out there and write a book about it. Okay, I'm done. I'm done now.
Okay, true demonology understands the Qlippoth the Zohar demons, the Ars Goetics, the Goetic theurgy, and the inner demons of the self and the Darth. The Zohar tells us that while God took 6 days to create the world, the infernal regions of man were created at night and in the mirror image of the world above them, at the point where both day and night merge, and the elements were mixed and unsettled, forming a division in the waters of the first day. Due to this imbalance between the first and second day, the third was created to finish the work of the second.
And really, that is what demonology is.
Yeah.
That is exactly what demonology is. I mean, you have to study the demons of every single philosophy. But more than that, because anybody can rattle off. I can teach a parrot to rattle off the names. I can teach a damn monkey to do the ritual. But if you don't have an idea of what you're doing and the metaphors that are behind it, you have no clue what demonology is. Demonology is an intricate part of growth. Without light, there can be no dark. Without dark, there can be no light. It just cannot happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a balance of both. And these people who want to expel demons out of the world, what's wrong with you? First of all, they're there to teach a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. Number two, metaphorically speaking, you're a demon.
I was about to say that.
You're the demon. You're the damn demon.
You know, and then it comes to perception of
what a demon is.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you're the demon.
Sometimes, you know, demon, totally evil asshole person. I mean,
sometimes because they've got so many inner demons. But you know, when people come, I'm a demonologist, and I chase them to banish and expel them out of the world, and I just want to grab them around their necks and scream, "You're the demon! You're the demon! They're not the demons. You're the demons. They can learn. You can learn from you. You have zero worth in this world if you're going around trying to create an imbalance.
There actually is a place for them.
Yeah, you have an imbalance.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And
now that I'm getting violent and jumping out of my seat again.
I know, I'm backing off slowly.
Slowly back off. I am so passionate about tonight's radio show. I really am.
I have an umbrella and a wall up between Jimmy and I. I've erected a wall.
I have erected a wall to keep your passionate ass in your seat. now, but you know, here's the thing. They sit there and they go, "Oh, yeah. I dispel demons, but I work with angels." Yeah. Oh, you're an idiot.
You're an absolute moron.
Idiot. You're an absolute...
what I like to call a brilliant moron.
A brilliant moron. Angels are more deadly than demons will ever be, because angels have to work in such a way that you have to be absolutely just and pure. How many of you out there are pure? Raise your hands now. Do you see any hands raised?
No.
No, I didn't think so. Absolute pure. And the thing of it is do not meddle in the affairs of angels. They do not like you. They don't like you. You're inferior. Demons in awe of you because you're not inferior to them. You're superior, and so. But really, what we're talking about in that idea is mercy and severity. Anyway, polarity. Let's go into because really, demonology on its own is such an immense topic that is absolutely impossible to cover tonight. And we've covered a lot of it because when we covered the Qlippoth,
I think we've covered quite a sufficient amount actually. And then I liked your theory about, you know, what if you're supposed to do the work, the inner work yourself, you know.
I had a theory? Yeah. Which one? the metaphor?
What if it was a metaphor and you are...
Yeah.
It's calling...
What if you're supposed to... Well, you are the
attention to... Yeah.
You are the vessel.
Yeah.
And that is the... And here's the thing. How freaking amazing is that? You are the vessel. You're the light.
Yeah, you're the golem.
you're the golem. You're the ark.
Okay.
You're the grail. You're the philosopher's stone in alchemy.
Yeah. I mean, to call oneself a golem isn't that far-fetched.
No, it is.
I mean,
now let's go one step further. Let's call ourselves gods.
Gods, yeah. Well, you know, but to be before you, well, some people, I you need to do a little work before they get to that point. But
are we not trying to become as one?
We are
with the God self,
or the God self.
The God self,
of course.
That's right.
That is the ultimate goal. But what I'm saying is,
every one of you has a God self. You may be further away from it than others, but every one of you has a God self, and the idea is to become that self.
Yeah, and I guess it is okay to call yourself a God, because then you can aspire.
That's right.
Towards it, and you're supposed to. So
that's right.
As long as you know it's in balance.
Let's go into Enochian magic.
Yep.
Let's give some history. Enochian magic has its root in Elizabethan England, with its groundbreaking work of court astrologer and magician Dr. John Dee, who lived from 1527 to 1608, and his associate Sir Edward Kelly, 1555 to 1597. Now, Dr. John Dee was the son of a minor Welsh nobleman who served in the household of King Henry VIII. Like King Henry VIII, oh, for their heads. Dee showed his genius for mathematics at an early age, and becoming a student at St. John's College, Cambridge, at the tender young age of 15. In 1546, at the age of 19, he received his bachelor's degree and became a fellow of Henry's newly endowed Trinity College, from which he received his master's degree. Now, we don't know what he received from there. I know that the people who do Enochian magic say that he got his doctoral. There's no paperwork for it, so I don't know. But there are paperwork for other people there. Yeah. So, we also know that it could have been an honorary degree.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical about
during the reign
achievements.
During the reign of Mary Tudor, Dee remained loyal to Elizabeth, a fact when combined with his studies in astrology, alchemy, and things metaphysical got him into a boatload of trouble. He was arrested on charges of treason and sorcery for having cast a horoscope of Mary. He was acquitted of the charges and rose in Elizabeth's sight. When Elizabeth ascended the throne in 1559, he was selected as her astrologer. And there is evidence that Dee engaged in some other form of intelligence work for Queen, who they call Queen Bess, because he signed his correspondences to her. You guys are going to love this. 007.
Okay. I think we're a little delirious.
I don't think you're just you've done all these shows so composed, and now I'm all bam. Sorry, go ahead.
I think I like the subdued Jymie better. Okay.
Let's take a vote on that.
No. I know I'll be outvoted. I'm only joking, of course. Okay, the Fates themselves could not have selected a more contrasting personality to throw together with Dee than the person of Sir Edward Kelly. Kelly was much the junior of the two, 1555, the year of his birth being the same year in which Dee was under trial for treason. Many of the details of Kelly's life are uncertain at best. He may have been born at Worcester. Is it Worcester?
Yes.
Worcester? And have apprenticed under an apothecary, perhaps his own father. His parentage is uncertain, and his real family name may have been Talbot. He may have attended a college at Oxford for a time, and may lots of mays, and may have been sent down at the age of 17. There were rumors that he had been pilloried.
Yeah, pilloried in Lancaster for jailed.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
That terminology totally threw me. In Lancaster
Old
for
school.
either forgery or counterfeiting. Yeah, that's what I get for letting you write my intro work.
You're going to be talking like a Southern Baptist.
Yeah,
Very
in a second,
That's
yeah.
right. And then they encountered the angels.
Usually I go through and, if I'm not writing it myself, I'm rewriting what she wrote, so I don't... Yeah.
And the angels said...
But I didn't have time today because this is so freaking lengthy. All right. Thank you.
Let there be light.
I think you're going to need some Adderall or something. What is it that calms you down?
Irish whiskey.
Did someone say bam? Oh, that was you.
Bam!
Oh my god, people are gonna... Yeah.
I am excited about tonight's class. I'm full of passion. What do you want? 200% proof.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah about Kelly and his supposed knighthood. I mean, anyway.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, that's just, there's a lot of speculation, so. But during the years that they worked together, Dee and Kelly would engage in one of the most protracted and extraordinarily magical workings in history. And this is what we're going on about. The volumes of information which they received from some kind of
praetor human.
Yeah, intelligence is staggering.
In other words, other than human.
Supposedly, didn't they perform a necromancy ritual and summon the dead to receive this information from?
Oh, yeah, well, what it was is
basically,
they did that, and they'd go into trances and get the information, and I'm going to clarify a little bit.
Via that mode, so that's what it's referring to. It has never all been truly studied, and some of it appears to have been lost or at least misplaced, which I really doubt, but...
Let's talk about this. Now, let's talk about this. It is so freaking similar to Kabbalah. It's not even funny. They have their 32 calls. There's the 32 paths. They have their 10 Enochs. There's the 10 houses of the Sephra. Mm-hmm. I got a feeling that what happened was because they were paid a large sum of money to come up with a brand new religion.
He was paid $1 million. Was it $1 million back then? I mean, what's the equivalent now?
Yeah.
Like back in the 1500s, $1 million? I mean, wow, that's a crazy-ass fortune.
It is.
So if somebody were to pay me that large a sum of money, I would be coming up with some extraordinary system. And
here's the problem with that.
As well.
You're working with angels. They have no need for you. So basically what they did is they did the Enochian thing, and they called forth in the Qabala. Now, okay, let's go back to what makes me hop out of my chair. What if the Enochian system is actually metaphorical?
Yeah.
What if the angels that you're supposed to call forth are the higher and just parts of the self? The demons are what you're trying to control and contain to keep those away. But the angelic aspects aren't really the angels that are written. What if they actually did write about angels, and you call up an angel and the angel goes, poof, I don't like you.
What about the Enochian alphabet?
And the Enochian alphabet is nothing more than off of the magical squares.
Do you think that he just plotted out some squares?
Yeah.
And, I mean, it would fit into the square.
Oh, it fits into the squares perfectly, as do the sigils of the planets of the Enochian planets.
Yeah, whenever we do works, they look awfully similar to me.
Absolutely similar.
Right.
And here's the thing. If that's the case, are they not telling you to create your own alphabet and sigils in the magical square fit?
Exactly.
Are they not telling you to banish your own demons? Are they not telling your demons? I got my hand going here. I feel like a Southern Baptist right now. I think Satan is amongst us. Is it not maybe that the end? If the demonology was to create a system, metaphorically speaking, to expel your own demons, the tree of life is for you to shed those and be filled with the light. If it is light, then light would be just and understanding and wisdom. Well, that is the definition of the angels. So
I'm nodding.
You're nodding, but they can't hear you on radio doing that. She said, I'm just waiting for an to come out of your mouth. And if that's the case, then the angelic system is also a metaphor for you to call forth your own higher and just self to get the aspects of almost angelic being. Mm-hmm. But don't play with the angels, because the angels, you taste good with ketchup.
Again, yeah.
I trust you taste good with ketchup. And that is really what it is about. Let's not take the music break.
Oh, no. We don't need another break. We just came back from a break, honey.
Let's do Kabbalah. I want to do Kabbalah.
Oh, boy.
I want to do Kabbalah.
Okay. Do you think we covered that enough, sufficiently?
Yeah, it is, because it ties in. And really,
I guess if we're going to tie it into the Kabbalah, at that point.
Well, it ties into the demonology.
I mean, as far
and
as
the tree of life, and the Qlippoth, and the Da'ath, and the path working, and really, what more is there to say? Hey, summon an angel. You taste good with ketchup. Tell me how that goes. Let me know how that works out for your ass. Or, seriously. Oh, I'm going to do it for real. Yeah, let me know how that turns out for you.
Like we said before, just because they're angels and they're beautiful does not make them any less dangerous.
That's right.
If not more so.
Exactly, because you're put at ease.
I heeded my warnings in my early 20s,
I've never played with angels. Angels scare the hell out of me. But I do try to evoke the high and just idea of being angelic.
Yeah. But I found the system,
If we put wings on me, I could be one angel.
What?
Yeah, vicious. Somebody look at me, oh, look at that pretty angel. I go, nom, 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 nom.
Yeah. I think to me they were just enticing just from the experience alone. I wanted to see if I could survive my experience with them.
I knew I tasted really good with ketchup.
Being in my early 20s. But I heeded the warning that was given in my teens about it. So in the end, yeah. But still sometimes, anyway. It's kind of pointless at this point.
We'll go to Kabbalah now.
Yeah, let's just go to the Kabbalah. So Kabbalah is the heart of the work to the higher self. Each of the paths have a specific and intricate path working that doesn't necessarily have to be done in Hebrew, which is probably a relief to a lot of people. Although, of course you're going to have to maintain, the vibration.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no escaping that, and it's not that difficult. The paths are a suggested working that combines several ideals of workings that be carried forth using any philosophy or no philosophy or any combination of philosophy.
I actually want to read a poem that I really like. It's called that sums up a lot.
Who wrote The Ladder of Lights?
It's an unknown. I know a lot of people take credit for it.
Yeah.
And I think they may put their twist on it, but this one's an unknown. But it's so gorgeous. But it's called The Ladder of Lights. Do you hear the music? In the soft, silent, moving breeze of vibrance. Can you see the shifting energy or manipulate your essence? Have you ever been caught suspended in a dream's aftercurrent to awake with a shock and find yourself silenced in darkness? You are potent to influence sensation as you climb forever more heights, achieved through necessary duration, and rise upon the ladder of lights. True, it's such a rush all of a sudden to find that same all by yourself, chained to your foregone confusion persona, clinging to consciousness's shelf. You are latent to influence creation as you die through your 10 packs a day. Divine thine spirit's inner relation. The ladder of lights is a way. I love that poem.
Mm-hmm.
I really
you know what it's illustrating?
Oh, such a gorgeous climb. With you climbing up the middle, and on the left is severity, and on the right is mercy, and it's just, yeah. It's orgasmic.
Apparently.
Apparently, we're giving me a Valium before the next show.
I love it.
I'm out of control.
I think we need it for this show, trust me. Okay. Okay, so to begin in the beginning.
Well, that's a good place to begin.
I know, right?
I did an Alice in Wonderland thing. I was going to try to do the whole Mad Hatter, Cheshire Cat, but I figured you're going to smack me soon.
I was like, to begin in the beginning.
Where one must begin.
One must fully understand the following. Yeah, let's not go into riddles again. Okay? This is going to be difficult to assimilate as it is.
Okay, I'll behave.
For a lot of people. Okay. Consciousness is everywhere. The now here. In ordinary states of consciousness, one is limiting his perception of what is actually occurring through limiting the way one is receiving the information. So, like the sensory filtering, in a way, in a sense, Examine this concept under the definition of time. It will be found that time is nothing more than the duration of consciousness. From an information theory point of view, tomorrow is occurring right now, and each of us is simply not consciously aware of it yet. What someone tells you today is already affecting what you would do and think tomorrow. It is possible to have this awareness. However, it requires an altered state, which is where extrasensory perception occurs. Altered states of consciousness are going to be discussed in how far down the line are we going to do that?
Might be a little bit down, so.
Yeah. Well, we're going to discuss it maybe we would discuss it in another show.
Then we might have to.
Actually, because I don't think we'll have time to do it.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not true. We're doing it. Ooh. The wrath, the right gut, the wrath of my passion. Sorry. No, we're actually going to do it inside the astral projection.
Yeah,
yes,
we'll do it in there. Yeah, I guess that'd be a bit the most the best forum in which to do it. Although, I mean, you could really do a whole other show on that.
Yeah, but it's well, we might, but I know we got it inside. I already
don't start talking like a squirrel. You're doing the squirrel talk.
Are
you okay?
The squirrel.
Thank God.
Yeah, I'm fine. Continue on. I swear to God, all I have is water in front of me. But I'm having such a good time. Keep going.
Boy.
It's a spongy.
Can I poke your head while you say that?
Spongy.
Thank you. Okay.
Number 2.
Okay. Since extrasensory perception is independent of time, the phenomena time is basically an illusion. In other words, the way one perceives what is going on is totally optional, and one may learn to control time with various forms of hypnosis.
Pathworking is a magical practice which differs from ceremonial invocation like you would not believe. Instead of calling in a god form into a circle, the aspirant actually journeys to the imaginal location of the archetypal form. Astral temples. This pathworking is and guys, this is the beginning stages of pathworking on the Tree of Life. This is the first path 32. Mm-hmm. Boom, you're there. Mm-hmm. Bam! And somebody's already called me Emerald of the Occult tonight on the board. They're like, Jymie's the Emerald of the Occult. Bam! But you're there, and it's like, bam! And this is the very first beginning. Isn't that great? This is the first way is what we're teaching tonight. Anyway.
The first step.
The aspirant journeys to the imaginal location of the archetypal form. This pathworking is a meditating act, which occurs in the imagination. The imaginal world lies between the empirical and the conceptual realms. This imaginal world is known to psychologists as the realm of psyche or the soul. Now, how do we gain access to this realm? This is really at the first door. Somebody asked me in the board, when am I going to come out with that? 42. There you go.
It's so inappropriate.
It is, but they're asking me to come out with it, so there you go. So, but how do we gain access to this realm? Once we recognize imagination as the realm of the soul, we require a method through which we can explore the soul through imagination. They go in hand. All three types of pathworking require a preliminary study of the characteristics and qualities of the spheres and paths. So, I mean, you gotta study this, guys. Tree of Life. The paths of the Tree of Life function as a metaphorical road into the soul. Isn't that great? I love teaching metaphorical classes. I really do. Their correspondence is produce an awareness of the soul through its own system of metaphorical language. Now, study the correspondence of the system until its metaphors are second nature and instantly recognizable as attributes of a specific quality. The physical aspect of pathworking includes the life experiences which precipitate into the daily life as a result of astral pathworking. These images require metaphorical interpolation into conceptual forms through mediation. And there's enough 25-cent words for you.
Totally.
For all these people that call me simple out there, there you go. Big words, and I used them right. Of course, I'm referring to the show where I got called simple, 7 times?
Oh, was that the week before last?
Mm-hmm. Tree of Life Pathworking offers a way of finding...
That's because the simple mind couldn't grasp what you were saying.
Tree of Life Pathworking offers a way of finding or locating archetypes in imaginal space. Each successive pathworking increases the area of perceptible inner space. The major purpose of pathworking is to produce a conscious contact with the archetypal powers connected with the particular path. There are active and passive forms of pathworking, but don't let my glibness lead you astray. Passive is this in this sense does not imply an effective attitude of type 1 experience. Both active and passive styles are required for training. Each is appropriate in different contexts. Active pathworking is the same to the amounts to the same psychological exercise known as active imagination. This exercise of the creative imagination is an excursion into the astral plane through the facility known as clairvoyance, a combination of ego, will, imagination, so that you can reach the soul. Mm-hmm. So all these people go, I'm a clairvoyant, I'm a medium. If you haven't reached the soul, if you don't know how to get into the soul through the path of the mind, which is the imagination, then no, you're really not. And people don't know that really it is a path into the soul. Mm-hmm. It truly is. And wow, that's so powerful, the mediums out there. And the clairvoyance and the clairaudience, and it's the path into the soul. It's I'm talking like I'm Italian here with my hand going in front of Vicky's face too. No.
I know. It's like you can't
contain myself.
Back off.
I'm in everybody's face. Pathworking produces a state known as the parataxic mode. It surpasses sensory information processing, but precedes conceptual lucidity. This is not a trance state where images transform freely from one form to another. It is an art form. Clairvoyance means seeing the inner world with increasing clarity. This clarity comes through ego's conscious participation. The main use of active pathworking is for introspection. In pathworking, the will forces the image to maintain certain parameters. Your will, in turn, is brought into direct, nonverbal contact with the non-rational. And you're forced into situations which require immediate reactions through feelings or instincts. This is where it becomes intuitive. The will maintains a sense of responsibility for ego's behavior on the inner planes. To, keep that ego in there. Both cognitive and emotional perception are involved, and the ego's forceful elaboration helps to ensure the unfolding of a particular sequence. Active imagination with the passive understanding together yield a result, as far as I understand. God, he understands good.
And he understands.
And you understand, Arca.
Mm-hmm. An active pathworking traces the routes between the Kabbalah as the transition stages between the spheres. A pathworking begins in one sphere and culminates in the sphere immediately higher on the middle pillar. The peripheral paths join various spheres on the tree in an orderly pattern. Any time two particular terminals are used, the traveler establishes a contact with both the place and the entities who are to be found inhabiting the area. With repetition, the imaginal reality of the place is confirmed through personal experience. The aspirant becomes an accepted visitor to these regions. All pathworkings return the traveler to the point of origin. This is why the ego must be able to maintain concentration and follow through. It is important to have a well-defined intention in any work of this nature. The symbol system to be used as a guideline was that of the 32nd path of the Tree of Life. For the traditional technique is to start in an imaginary temple representing the Sephira from which one starts, to picture the relevant tarot trump on one side of the temple, to pass through the trump as into a picture and proceed through whatever scenery and experiences one may find until one comes to a central point, the Hebrew letter allocated to the path. From thence one continues the imaginary journey until just before the further sephira one meets the relevant astrological symbol, and shortly after views the further sephira of the path. One then returns by the way one came. Recapitulating briefly, yeah, we know what that means, or that one meant on the way out. This step is most important, particularly in the fact that it is a preparation for more advanced work when the pictures of the visual imagination give way to actual flora, fauna, and locations of the objective astral plane, when to be lost with no plan of return can be a serious matter. Yeah?
Yeah. I'm trying to be serious.
Okay.
No, it is actually a very serious matter.
Anyway, this was just basically elaborating what you were saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
So.
But there's always good to have a couple of angles.
Yeah. I think this.
I always like that. You like that?
Yeah, it tidies up. Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I know you do. Revmo likes it.
Mm-hmm. In fact, Revmo wrote this.
Revmo wrote this.
Passive pathworking is not a contradiction in terms, but indicates that ego consciousness is present, though it does not interfere with the unfolding of psychic imagery. This passive working is actually more advanced because the traveler must employ his creativity or ability to synthesize information. The practitioner requires an ability to deal with opening of the lower as well as the higher mind. This form of pathworking uses a doorway of some type of initiate the experience. This might again be a tarot card or an I Ching hexagram, a last night's dream image, or whatever.
I like last night's dream image.
Okay, we're just not going to go into that. The difference is that instead of
You don't even know what I dreamt.
I don't want to know. The difference is that instead of following procedure, instructions on where to go and what to visualize, one allows the pathworking itself to present the images. This passive pathworking may be likened to some respects to what is termed archetypal imagination in third generation Jungian psychology.
I like Jungian psychology.
Third generation?
Yeah.
This is an authentic visionary mode of experience. I was just contemplating the third generation.
Okay. On what that means by third generation?
Yeah, because
what it means is that it's almost like an edit or a revise.
Okay.
And even Jung, he had his theories, and as he grew, he revised, and it was considered like a third generation Jungian psychology. And during third generation Jungian psychology, he incorporated alchemical symbolization.
Okay, all right. I was just trying to figure out why
I had to put down third.
Yeah, because I do not know my Jung other than very casually.
Because that was my cue to jump in and explain, and I missed it.
I mentioned it like 2-3 times.
I'm contemplating things.
Yeah. This is an authentic visionary mode of experience. It is a casual level experience which produces keen perception or insight. The distinction between the magical and Jungian models is that the magical model employs the bottle of light. Seriously, employs the body of light as the vehicle for travel of the aspirant. Please.
I'm trying.
This shape must be kept in awareness at all times. If the main purpose of pathworking is to contact the archetypal power behind it, an examination of the meaning of archetypal ought to be firmly established in the aspirant's mind.
And it should be. That's the most important thing. That was only 2 cents worth, and I'm done.
And it said it needs to be.
But I mean, and then a lot of people don't understand that in the archetypal format of what you're trying to be is the God self. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what the God self is, then you can't possibly do it.
Yeah. So basically, it's your goal.
Just the God form.
Yeah. So, never go into working without having one clearly set. Archetypal theory in modern psychology assesses 4 generation premises. Archetypes are located in the soul. Psychopathology is emphasized. Archetypes are decidedly important and numerous. The ego is desubstantiated in a radical sense.
You know what? We should do a whole song. We should do a beep. We should do a whole show based solely on path workings. What do you think?
How long will that be? I mean, that's gonna. All right.
Couple shows. We'd have to put it over a couple shows. I was
gonna say, there's just no way.
It'd have to be like addendums.
Yeah. Or something, because I think it'll be too dry. I mean, to do it all.
Not dry.
No, I just think it's just such a huge body of work. And
it is, and you'd have to break it into the three triangle sets.
We're going to have to think of how we'd have to break it down.
Okay.
But not one show. I mean,
no, I wasn't going to say one show.
Yeah.
No, it'd have to be, you'd almost have to do it into 3 shows, because you'd have to do 3 triangular sets.
Yeah. And I guess if we do I guess we could do that.
We could do it, and it would be one of those ones that we did on the actual camera.
And I was going to say,
we'd have to use stream it.
We need
that's a very visual show.
We need a visual, and we actually are prepared for that.
We're getting yes, pleases.
We have our whiteboard and our easel and our markers.
I got
ready
easel
to go.
and a marker and a baby board. And when we come back from break, we will be covering astral projection, astral travel, and astral temples.
Do a guided hypnosis.
Ooh,
really?
We should. Then I can have them all clucking like chickens.
I know, I just got very, very mischievous there for a second.
Let's take a music break. When we come back, we'll handle all the astral stuff. That's the last part of the show, really. And then after the show is done, we're actually going to jump over to Ustream, and we're going to re-record the telekinetic thing.
Yeah, this is a really long day.
It is. Here we go. Alrighty. I know we're going way long, guys, and I know some people are saying you can digest it better if we cut.
But the thing is, this is a podcast, so
it is a podcast, and I don't know what to do.
You can always, you know.
The only thing we got left is astral projection and some astral travel, some understanding of what it is, and then some ritual how to do it, and a ritual of how to build your own astral temple, or at least begin. I'm going to say we go.
So if you are listening live, you can always turn off and catch up later, or, like I said, this is a podcast, so you can stop and start as you choose.
This was really ambitious, and I should have cut this show into 2.
Yeah, let's just get it done.
We do have the winner of the paper person for the alchemical, for the, the quantum physics name?
Yeah.
We drew it out of a hat. Digital particle. That's Drake Morton. I know he's in the room.
Yeah. So what you won?
Tell the fine young lad what he won.
And I know you can come and pick this up. Can you turn it up a little?
Sure.
War of the Robots. It's a Grindhouse double shock show feature. War of the Robots and It's Alive. DVD courtesy of the Grindhouse people who kindly send us mini DVDs to give away stuff.
All right, I'll try. Well, we'll try to go through this. We just during the music break, we actually sat down and skimmed through it really quick and decided areas that we were actually going to skim through.
This is actually a lot lighter in material.
It really is, and it's stuff that you guys can work on and actually start building, and it can be very helpful.
And it does tie in.
And Arca is telling us that he's got a selfish nature and he really is not concerned with anybody else listening.
And the reason why is because, as we said before, it does all tie in.
Right.
So
let's get going. Yeah. Astral projection is the experience of astral body, also called soul body or dream body, partially and temporarily separating from the physical body. Astral projection is something called astral travel, soul travel, or out of body experience. As long as the physical body lives during astral travel, the astral body is at all times attached to the physical body through like something that you call like a silver cord, which may or may not be visible to you while you're having an out-of-body experience. We are all having out-of-body experiences while our physical body is deeply asleep, but we're not conscious of those experiences. When your consciousness is returning to the physical body, the awareness and memory of non-physical experiences you had while your body was asleep may diminish even to the point that you have no memory of it. Some people find it easy to leave their body at will. Some people don't. They have a more challenging time. Now, there are differences. There is something called lucid dreaming and astral projection. Lucid dreaming is often called astral travel, and astral projection is different. If you experience lucid dreaming and desire to experience astral projection, first you need to dissolve the dream, or if you will, awake from the dream without returning your consciousness to the physical body.
During astral projection, you may explore different dimensions and environments. Some may be familiar, some unfamiliar, some belonging to a realm that is very much like the physical realm, and others very different. Some may be populated or unpopulated, and such. Your thoughts and emotions, your deep desires are likely to influence your experiences as much as your conscious choices. You are free to alter your experience through intention. A variation of astral projection experience, which occasionally also goes by the name of soul travel and sometimes as etheric travel, is when you are separated from your body to visit a location or a person who is here on earth. And yet another offshoot is bilocation. And during these kinds of experiences, you'll be visible to others to varying degrees. Since everything is made out of energy and consciousness, and including your astral body, soul body, etheric body, physical body, and whatever name you desire to give it, to that aspect of yourself, as well as different dimensions you can experience while astral projecting. And since energy follows through, to what degree you are projected or to what extent you manifest yourself in these different environments would depend also on your state of consciousness. You're not limited either by space or by time, and you may very well find yourself exploring environments in a different space-time continuums. So if you want to, let's start with choosing time. First of all, consider practicing astral projection early in the morning. This time of the day holds several key advantages to inducing an out-of-body experience. You're already relaxed from a good night's sleep, hopefully. There are less distractions, and most importantly, the chemistry of the brain at this time of day is naturally conducive to astral projection. Basically, early in the morning, around 5 a.m., melatonin levels in the brain are relatively high. This helps you stay very relaxed. At the same time, cortisol levels begin to build up in anticipation of the day to come. This creates a stimulating energy that may be used to remain alert through the process of projecting the consciousness out of the body. So let's go into setup. So create an environment that you are fond of and in which you feel comfortable. The bedroom is perfect for this type of activity. It already is a room dedicated to sleeping, resting, intimacy, and dreaming. Unplug the phone and other devices susceptible to creating distractions, obviously. Mental and emotional hygiene is important that your mind be as carefree as possible. A busy and worrying mind will be too focused on external matters to let go and allow out-of-body experiences to occur. Staying up to date with daily tasks, clearing up misunderstandings with others, and living according to one's means, for example, will all contribute to create a good mental and emotional conditions to relax and focus on astral projection when you want to. Stress diminishes your chances of consciously astral projecting. So be clear about your desires and your motivations. Astral projection is an amazing state to find yourself into, but without a firm desire to consciously experience it, you may not get very far. Desire is a great source of energy. Concentrate on it every day to speed up the manifestation process. Read books about it, daydream about it, talk about it. Make sure it floods your awareness. It does make a really big difference. Equally important is a determination to go through any fear you hold regarding the exploration of consciousness and out-of-body experiences. It is not so much that you should have no fear at all when you start, but rather be willing to continue on your adventure in spite of it. The sensation out-of-body experiences produced can be quite startling at first, but don't let that discourage or stop you.
If you are practicing astral travel early in the morning as you come out of sleep, then you should already be in a fairly tranquil state. Depends on your dreams.
Well, most people are. So.
However, you still need to further relax so that the body can fall asleep again while the mind stays awake. And this is actually called a hypnagogic state. Most people spend the majority of their waking hours in beta, state of mind. And to experience astral projection consciously, you need to lower the speed of the brainwave frequencies. So as you lay down and prepare to astral project, breathe slowly but effortlessly. Make intention clear in your mind. You are there to experience astral projection, except that the process will take whatever time it will. Otherwise, it'll create tensions. It may happen quickly, it may not. One of the most important tools that will help beginners to consciously manifest theta frequencies, which is what you're heading for, is what's called brainwave entrainment. And these are audio recordings of tones and pulses playing at various frequencies. By listening to these recordings, the brainwaves synchronize themselves with the frequencies of sounds. You can find these on almost any astral projection website. The process of deep relaxation is simplified and quickened with brainwave entrainment. Without using that, some people will reach the theta state in about 30 to 45 minutes. Others will release it quicker. Now, when using visualizations and affirmations as part of this process may be helpful to keep the mind from wandering. So that's one of the most important things to remember is you can use the music, but otherwise what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a theta sense of mind, a theta vibration. And entrainments, if you're a beginner, truly that can help the adult mind.
So you might experience some sleep paralysis. As your state of relaxation deepens, you will reach that hypnagogic state. This means your body is literally asleep while your mind is still awake. On your way to this state, your body should gradually feel heavier until the sensation of it will begin to disappear. You may experience sleep paralysis, and this is a natural function of the body that prevents it from acting out your dreams actively while you sleep every night. It is safe and necessary to allow the paralysis to take hold. So you're doing it every time you sleep.
Oh, you
anyway.
are.
I mean, you're just aware of it, for a time. So your sensations will go equally numb and lose clarity. Hearing and vision will dim. Touch will become less sharp. And imagery akin to dreaming may occur in your mind's eye. So allow that to happen, but try not to get involved with it, as you may enter the dream state. So, and that's nothing like your out-of-body state. So, now reducing your magnetic pull. As you reach this part of the process, you should be thinking as little as possible. Too much mental energy will keep you tied to your body. You know how thinking can keep you awake when you try to go to sleep at night? It's kind of like the same thing. So we're trying to remain lucid and conscious, but not awake in the conventional sense of the term. So the body needs to be sleeping. So, and sometimes there's buzzing noises. As they get close to the point where separation occurs, many people report buzzing noises. This is completely normal and should not be interpreted as something negative. Did you want to say something? Okay. The buzzing can get quite intense according to some, but I have never experienced buzzing to that extent personally. I get that vibrating thing.
Yeah.
So this may be because the transition out of the body usually occurs too quickly for the buzzing to intensify,
Yeah. So when you no longer feel your physical body and your sensation of yourself seems to be more energetic than physical, it's time to project. And there are some certain types of exit techniques. You can roll out of your body, pulling yourself up on a rope, or any other action that would move that would have you move away from the body. This needs to be done when your awareness of your energetic body is strong. Otherwise, you will just end up moving your physical body and break your trance. And there's really nothing more than that. You can roll, you can start with your toes.
I think some people lay prone and then they start the gentle rocking from side to side. Just to get, because you experience a rolling out of the body effect that way. So it's a little more fluid.
Right.
And less, it just feels more natural.
It does. And that really is all you need to do to astral to project. Yeah. And so many people make a big deal about it that they can astral project.
I know they say to relax it, but like I said, if
and don't be worried about getting back to your body.
That's just an initial thing.
Let's go into making an astral temple. It's the very last part of the show. Making regular use of an astral temple can increase the effectiveness of your magic and has many other uses. Astral projection is ideal but not necessary. A deep meditative state and visualization are the keys. You should construct your temple during ritual, where you can just ask any deity to bless it.
Yeah.
Meditate for as long as you need to construct your own place, and this should be done after the invocation, where you write your request for your deity to bless and consecrate your temple. You can construct your temple any way you wish. This is your area. Visualize the outside of your temple first. This can be a pyramid or any shape you choose, and made of any material you choose. They should be strong. Walk through the door. This is your area. Create your altar, your carpet, or floor. Any size, any shape, any color. You can add anything you want to your temple. Burning lamps of fire. Huge Baphomets or god forms or Aphrodites.
It's your wildest fantasy come true.
Velvet walls of red, blue, or black. I mean, anything you want. Little.
There's no limit to this.
No, there isn't. You can have all the little maidens in Valhalla serving you meat if you'd like, dressed in skimpy wear. Just saying. I'm just saying. That's all.
Yeah, we say a lot. So. Okay, so this is your own private inner place where you are free to visit at any time. So, the more you visit this place, the stronger it will become. You know, the more, would you say like solid it will become? I mean, in that sense, you know.
Yeah.
Not thinking of that word in a conventional sense, but, you know, the more you solidify it.
Right.
You know, establish it. So when finished with this ritual, you should at some time perform sex magic, where you go to your astral temple and use an orgasm to direct a powerful energy of light. This should be at least, you know, electric blue, you know, to fill the entire place. This can be done more than once. So when you know... What?
Right, it can be done more than once.
Okay.
Yeah, no. You don't know. Elaborate. Go ahead.
Now you made me forget what I was going to say. You're waving your hand in front of my face, and I'm just like, what? That's what I'm saying. We discussed that, you know, during that sex magic show.
Yeah, we did.
You know, the importance of, you know, the strength of this energy. So it's like it's just the perfect finishing, establishing touch. So.
Yeah. Now, uses for your astral temple include ritual, meditation, telepathic communication with other human beings, meeting any type of god forms, and where you can ask them questions and things like that. Yeah. You can also go there to focus on certain issues requiring psychic ability or communicate telepathically. And if you wish to discuss something of importance, speak as you would as if you were just sitting across the room from the god form. But I think that's a...
Yeah, we kind of like rushed through the end of that.
But I think that's a good way of doing astral temples and things like that. And really, it's so personal. Anyhow, that was a good show. Mm-hmm. We've gone a little over 3 hours total in the show. We're actually going to stop the encoder. We're going to start and this is the end of this show. And we're going to do the rest of it. Is it like the concept of continuously doing the LBR to increase the potencies? Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Potency of the pentagrams and the astral is what she didn't finish saying.
But yes, it is. Anyway, thank you guys for coming to this week's Occultist Radio. We hope to see you next week. Thanks to everyone letting us do a big show.
We don't have any clue as to what
we're going to do yet. But we didn't know what we were going to do this one either.
No.
So, good night, everyone. We're not going to end with music because we have other things that we have to get to over to the other page. Yep. So I'm going to stop the encoder, and then we're going to head over to the Ustream page if anybody's interested for the energy manipulation.
Since the video did not save
do you want to go get the tools?
On the initial run, we're going to go through it again.
So give us about 2 minutes to set up, and we'll see you at Ustream. Mm-hmm.